Wazelle! Wazelle! Remember me, Wazelle? Wazelle, don't you remember? Remember, Wazelle. Wazelle, remember. Remember.
Dave Z! Dave Z!
Die! Die!
Dave Z!
Die!
Dave
Die!
Z! All right, assholes, we are back with Bananalaser's Unholy Trinity of Friday the 13th, and we've definitely saved the best for last. We're going through the three eras, as we like to call them, of Friday the 13th, and Dave Z's and mine our favorites are both the first era, which is parts 1 through 4. Let's start off with the classic number 1, the original Friday the 13th.
I just thought it'd be a good idea to go over a couple of the highlights of Friday the 13th. Yeah, now I know you'll remember this part. Whoa, you see this? Yeah, this is where Steve is worried about having enough paint.
Bill, Steve wants to know if we need more paint.
Paint's all right. I think we need some more thinner, though.
Okay, I'll tell him.
And then the police show up. Yeah.
We ain't gonna stand for no weirdness out here.
Now Ralph comes by to cheer everybody up.
Messenger of God, you're doomed if you stay here.
Oh, then remember this part when Alice is making the instant coffee? Oh, yeah, that's really exciting. Holy cats. Whoa. Now, Betsy Palmer shows up, and she explains the whole thing about what happened with Jason.
You were drowned. You never paid any attention. Look what you did to him.
Cats.
This movie is so good even today. It's almost ridiculous. There's so many other copycats and other movies that try to do this formula, but they just fail miserably. It seems so simplistic, but this fucking movie just nailed it. It got everything perfect. Well, not perfect, but it got everything almost perfect, and it just made for a super enjoyable film, start to finish. And just so many things about this movie that I love, especially, the kills and the characters and the atmosphere. It's mainly the atmosphere that most other of the copycats don't get right. But I'm a huge fan of this movie. Dave Z, what do you think about the first Friday the 13th? Because some people are still hesitant to say they like this movie because of the whole Mrs. Voorhees being the killer. Jason really isn't in this movie. I mean, he is, but he isn't. To some people, the series doesn't kick off until part 2. What do you think about this first one in the series?
Oh, it's great. It doesn't matter who the killer is. They got everything right.
Yeah.
There's so few really good slasher movies that have it all, that everything comes together. And it doesn't matter that it's not Jason. It doesn't matter that it's Mrs. Voorhees. In a bit of a way, it's a cheat. But fuck it. it's actually kind of cool because when you see her come on the screen and she turns that way, it's fucking fantastic. I love showing that movie to somebody for the first time that has no idea it's not Jason.
Mm-hmm.
Because
yeah.
They're completely thrown off. They see this lady come in, and like, what the fuck is this? And then when she flips, you're like, oh, holy fuck. I mean, this movie, I wish I wish I would have seen it the day it came out at the movie, or whatever, or not the day, but when it initially came out to the movies. Mm-hmm. Holy fuck! This is why I love it. This is why it's a classic in the genre, and it's as great as it is. And you have to appreciate it for that. Just imagine seeing this fucking shit for the first time. I mean, yeah. I think it would have been mind blowing. I really do. There's for a slasher movie, there's fucking, in my opinion, there's not one negative thing you could say about it.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't harp on the negatives of this movie at all. I mean, there's some funny stuff like clearly anytime you see the killer until the end, it's Betsy Palmer. It's played by a man. I mean, it's definitely man hands,
what's his name?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like whenever Kevin Bacon's head gets grabbed, that's a guy's hand. I understand why they did it. I don't fault them for it at all. It doesn't make for a less pleasurable viewing experience, but it's just one of those things to throw us off. Now, speaking of Betsy Palmer, her fucking performance at the end, she only comes in the last 15 minutes, but her performance when she's having a one-on-one with Alice is fucking ridiculous. I've never seen her in anything else. I'm sure she's done tons and tons of other movies, most of them non-horror, I'm sure, but she was just great in her and how she performed at the end, telling the story of Jason and how he, just all of that, the reveal, the slow reveal in her dialogue of you coming to understand of how she's the killer is just perfect. It was the perfect little bow on the end of this great movie, I think.
Yeah, and it's something that the other ones, God love them, because we're in the 1 through 4 now. There's very, very little negative we could say, at least from where I'm sitting. There's very little negative I can say. I'm assuming you're going to feel the same way, but we're getting to it. But this is something that the rest of them lack. This is the only one that has that vibe to it of a whodunit.
Yeah,
that's part of its charm. It's great that way. People, I can't see how you can't appreciate it. You can't say, oh, well, it's not Jason, so I don't like it. You got to cast that shit aside and just take it in, because it was pretty groundbreaking when it came out. It was just, it turned the horror genre around. It was, you can't dispute the impact it had and how this really kicked, the subgenre of slashers into high gear. I mean, you had Halloween before, and you had a couple. But when Friday the 13th dropped, everything changed, because not only did it have the atmosphere and the music, which are fucking both incredible, everything came together. Those are two of the things. They had the gore. They had Tom Savini, and that's just fucking, you can't get any better than that. And everybody else after that was trying to do what this movie did. And then gore got out of control for a while, and everybody was having gory scenes in this. You can credit that to this movie.
Absolutely. This movie, at least in America, really, this is where, the special effects really took off. And you actually, not only is there suspense, which is what most of these movies were before, it has the gore factor and the real horror in that. And so, yeah, absolutely. In fact, most of these slasher movies did have this formula of you didn't know who the killer was, and you weren't introduced to the killer, in the first 10 minutes, and realized who it was throughout the movie. And it's kind of, it's real similar to, the classic giallos in that aspect, and. And I just love it. Some people can watch this now and think it's slow paced, or are just not interesting because Jason isn't in it. But I think you're wrong. I think everything that you said makes this movie amazing. The atmosphere and the music is so spot on. That is, I mean, it's just brilliant. Like the opening scene, it puts the setting perfectly. You're at a camp. You got two kids. They go off. They for some hanky panky, and and then someone that they know finds them, and then all of a sudden, then they're being chased. And that's the scary part about it is they know who this person is. You don't know who it is, and they do that right off the bat. And I think that's brilliant. And then, the boy gets killed. It freeze frames on the girl's face as she's getting killed. And then the fucking credits start. And the fucking introduction is just great.
Yes, it is great. Right? That's just one thing. It wasn't not gory in the slightest and didn't even have to be that part. It was just a great start to a movie, and then how instead of fading to black, it fades to white, and then the way the credits come in, and the Friday the 13th logo comes up and smashes glass, which I always thought was funny because like their intent was to put it on TV. They weren't thinking about the the movie screen.
Right, exactly, yeah.
Which is kind of funny, But then they didn't know how big it was going to be.
They had no idea. Yeah.
No, they had no idea, and they got very lucky with having Harry Manfredini on there because that soundtrack. People say that about Halloween 1 as well. Take that movie and take the music out of it, and it's still going to have the same impact. And it might have had some second-rate music or something, which could have still been a good slasher. Of course, it's still going to be a good slasher for the other elements, but the music's incredible, and that creates an atmosphere of its own.
It made it seem like a real movie. Whereas if it had a different kind of score, it would have lessened the movie, just like you said. And so, yeah, it really elevated the movie. And it's amazing to me that these guys were able to produce something this good because they were really just ripping off another movie. I mean, these guys were ripping off Halloween. They took a name, an idea, Friday 13th. Right. Yeah, let's make a movie about that. Let's just, have a guy with a knife killing people. Let's have a setting, okay, go. That's it.
Yeah.
And they did it so on the fly to kind of make money. But I don't know, just that the gods shine light on their movie production as they were making it because they struck gold.
Yeah, and with the adding gore to the mix,
Yeah.
I mean, it had a great atmosphere as well as Halloween did. They each are great for their atmosphere, and they both have, I think they do it more in Friday with there's more POV shots. There's a lot of it because we don't see the killer until the end. So everything you see is POV from the killer, which is great. And the atmosphere and the tension of the movie. But take everything there and add gore to it, and not just gore. Add the best, in my opinion, the best guy that's ever done gore in horror movies. You put Tom Savini in there. He was the star of the show. I mean, in a manner of speaking, because he was coming off Dawn of the Dead. He made a big name for himself already at this point.
Yeah, he was the first rock star special effects guy. Really?
Yeah.
I mean, before that, you didn't know who these guys were. But then after that, it's like, Rick Baker and Stan Winston and all these guys, you realize how much weight that these guys had into making the movie, which, back in the early 80s and stuff was huge.
Yeah.
Which is why so many of us guys, of our age, are just clamoring for this kind of effects work and stuff like that. Because you just can't replicate this stuff, on a computer, even though it still may look fake. There's just something about it being there on the set, being filmed in the same light as everything. I think it's all about lighting. When you do something on the computer, it doesn't match the lighting or anything, any of that stuff, and so that's why a lot of these special effects work. So like, Yeah, I mean, you know, when I watched the first 3 Friday movies on the USA Network on a on a show called Commander USA's Midnight Movies or something like that.
Wow.
And, yeah, it was one of those host shows, kind of like Elvira or something.
Right, sure.
And this guy, he was called Commander USA, and he was in his his hideout. And he had on a cape and a fucking suit. And he always had like a cigar, and he had like the eye mask only, and he's called Commander USA. Really hokey, really kind of stupid and funny, but I wish I had copies of those tapes that I made off USA because for those to be my introduction to Friday the 13th just on like one weekend was fucking just mind-blowing to me. To see them all in one sitting at one time, to have this fucking lunatic Commander USA come before the commercial breaks and like just react, be like, whoa, you know, things are heating up now. What's going to happen next? You know, shit like that. Just all that just rolled into one ball. It was so entertaining. I just loved it.
That's great, man. That's a great memory to have. Yeah. Shit. Now, Commander USA, was he kind of dressed like Evel Knievel in a way? Did he have white sleeves with stars on him?
Yeah, it was like an America-themed superhero guy who just introduced movies, yeah.
I do remember him. Mm-hmm. For whatever reason, I didn't see a lot of his shit. I remember watching Up All Night with Rhonda Shear, and later on they had Gilbert Gottfried, and and then Elvira in the Afternoons, and then they had the Joe Bob Griggs came later. Riggs, whatever the fuck his name is, and that. So, but I vaguely remember Captain, Commander
USA.
Captain USA.
I think that's his name. It could be Captain. I don't know. I think it's Commander, though.
I think it is. And I do remember, and he said something about the cigar, and, you know, it triggered something. So it's kind of coming back to me. So I do remember seeing this guy. Mm-hmm. But so you saw all 3 in that order, 1, 2, 3, and that's how you discovered them?
Yeah, and they were uncut.
Wow.
On USA, yeah.
What the fuck?
They showed all the kills and everything. They were all uncut. I couldn't believe it.
Maybe it was when USA first came out and they were like a legitimate cable thing. I don't know. I'm really surprised at that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah.
Holy fuck.
Yeah, I remember seeing all the kills and everything. Even, you know, Kevin Bacon getting the spear or, you know, the arrow or whatever that was through his neck and everything. They showed it all.
No shit. Mm-hmm. Wow, that's great. That's great. And those fucking effects, were great. And none of them really, for me, anything Savini does, it all looks great. It all looks real. And it's like he says, it's magic tricks. We're trying to achieve magic when we're doing this in you know, in a way of speaking. Now, you talk about computer, it doesn't look right. For some reason, it's not enough. And you can't appreciate it. I mean, there's some guy behind a fucking putting keys in a freaking computer that, oh yeah, he's no one's ever going to say, oh, this is the best CGI fucking gore guy of all time. You don't hear that, you know? But everybody appreciates Savini and the things that followed. And because of this movie, once again, to its credit, in launching everything, we got to know everybody else, like Rick Baker, etc., because the horror genre got so big with this movie coming out that all of a sudden magazines are all over the place. I mean, Fangoria was out before this, but it didn't really hit the heights that it hit until this shit started happening. And then you got Fangoria magazine and a couple others, and now there's a buzz. Everyone's talking about horror, and that's how you learn their names. There's articles, they're talking about, you know, Savini, the maestro of effects, and this director, and this. All of a sudden, you know, there's no internet back then. It's just magazine. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. That's how we all learned. Yeah. And which is great. It's nostalgic, but, you know, I'm glad I got to experience it for what it was, because it was so exciting just to go to the store. I would go to the mall once a month, or I would go to the mall more than that in my youth. But I would go up, in the Fangoria was only sold in this one store, Walden Books in the mall. And
I remember that store.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah,
it was great for that. Anytime a new one came out, there it was. I couldn't wait. We would go to the mall, and that was part of the excursion. We would do this, and this, you know. And one of the things, every time you're there, let's check and see if the new Fango's out, you know. But it was a really exciting time, and I credit this movie for having, you know, one of the major reasons that horror jumped the leaps and bounds that it did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and there's nothing negative, you know.
No, I mean, like I said, the only negative things are really, to me, are just nitpicking, you know, and I don't really see too many faults in this movie whatsoever that I really find, and you know, and I love it. I mean, do I? To me, it's funny because this movie started the series, but clearly it couldn't continue with with Mrs. Voorhees as the killer, and so it was a great jumping off point. But I'm glad that they made this movie the way they did, with the ending that they did.
Oh yeah.
And I think that entire ending with Jason coming out of the water, was that written, or was that completely thought up by Savini? That entire bit of, you know, we need a jump scare at the end. He's like, well, how about we just have Jason come out? Was that his idea?
See, this is a weird thing, because I'm pretty sure I read in the Crystal Lake Memories book that it was one of the producers or it was somebody else.
Okay.
And they went, but here's the funny thing. I also saw on, I think, on the His Name Was Jason documentary, I heard Savini telling the same story. So I don't know, but I do know this. Somebody went to the theater and they saw Carrie. And Carrie had the similar situation at the end with the hand coming out of the grave.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, but I know that part. Yep.
Oh fuck! Well, it's great. It's and this ripped it off.
Makes no sense. Makes no sense. But
well, yeah, it makes sense because it makes sense because it was a dream sequence. Then the girl wakes up in bed. It's just like what happens here.
Well, not on Carrie. Is that what happens?
Yeah.
Too? Oh, okay.
Oh yeah. You gotta see Carrie.
Okay. Yeah, I do.
So that happens, and the guy saw that, and he saw the effect it had on the people around him and in the theater, and he said, "Listen, I just saw this fucking movie. It was amazing, and what happened here was great. We have to do something like that. We want to be able to do something like that to either top it or, I saw this and I want to do something like that." So I remember reading it was somebody else, but then I heard Savini tell the story, I think, on the documentary, and he said it was him. So I'm not 100% sure. I don't know if a few people are taking credit, or maybe a few of them got together and watched the movie. Possibly. Maybe more than one went to the theater together as they were filming. So it could have been a number of things. Maybe we'll find out in the documentary.
Oh, fuck.
And the
I
new
can't
one.
wait.
Oh, fucking A. In that movie, in that documentary, it's fucking... We're so psyched about this shit.
Yeah.
And, I'll tell you, the way I feel right now, after going through the thing we just did with 9 and 8, and the other movies that we covered, some good, some not so good. Right now, we're in the thick of things. And, this is kind of a disclaimer, because I felt a little fucking bad that I was so negative on a couple of the movies. And
right, yeah, 6 through 8, we didn't really rate too highly.
No, and we were being honest about how we felt. But the reason I was like, "Fuck this movie, fuck this, fuck that," and I feel bad about it now because I love the series so much anyway. So in a way, I feel bad about it. But the thing is, there's no other way to say it except that because we love these first 4 so much. What the series became, it pisses you off because you care for that so much. And then you see it go a different direction, and it's disheartening. You're like, oh, what the fuck? How do you go from that to this? So, granted, someone says, hey, you're going to sit down and watch a horror series. It's Friday the 13th, and every movie that, we've discussed, even the ones that we bashed, I'm going to watch them again, except I probably never watch, I'm not going to watch Jason Goes to Hell. I will say that. I can wipe my hands clean of that forever, and that's fine. Maybe I'll get drunk. Maybe I'll get drunk or high with somebody and laugh at it. Maybe something like that.
Yeah.
So I can't really go on record and say I'll never watch that again because I'd probably be a liar. But we fucking love this shit. I know you love it. I know I love it. This movie, this series, is so fucking near and dear. It's just, and don't get me started on the fucking number 13. And it's all because of this damn series. I mean, I'm fucking out of control with the number 13. Everything I do is fucking 13. Seriously,
You're still 13 years old at heart.
Yeah, probably. Yeah,
Yeah.
I would doubt that. I mean, I'm not sick about it. I don't take 13 steps to my car or fucking.
Oh,
you
brother,
know.
yeah.
No, it's nothing like that. But I'll tell you what, the volume on my car is always on 13. It's not on 12 or it's 14. I put this on 13. Anytime someone says pick a number, it's 13. I was married on a Friday the 13th.
Really?
Okay?
Holy
Yes.
shit.
Yeah,
That's
Friday,
crazy.
January 13th. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Huh.
Yeah. So, I'm a little fanatical about it, a little bit obsessive about it. Not to the point that I'm sick, but it is my number. Fucking, it's weird because when I'm at work and I'm at the roulette table, and it's funny because there's a couple people that have seen it happen. When I walk by a roulette table, a lot of times the fucking number 13 comes up.
Huh, that's wild.
Yeah, it is pretty fucked up. So, I've been about number 13 forever. And here's the fucked up thing again. My birthday's the 2nd, but my father's birthday and my brother's birthday are 13s.
Oh, really? You missed the mark on that one. Shit.
I did, yeah.
Oh, damn.
Somehow I got stuck with 2. Yeah.
You're number 2, Dave Z. You're always number 2.
Yes, number 2 in our hearts. Yes.
So,
but anyway, I went off on that. But I did feel a little bit bad about trashing it because, I love fucking Jason and I love this series. And,
absolutely.
Even if I talk some shit, it's just blowing off steam because of how much the regard that part 1 through 4 are held with me, and then what it came later, it's just frustrating, I guess is the word. Yeah. But I'll still take them over any other series. There's no question.
Absolutely. I mean, even part 6, 7, those sequels are still. I mean, fuck, dude. I mean, look at the Halloween sequels. The majority of those are garbage, dude.
Right, and Nightmare.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, even the worst Friday sequel is better than some of those. You know what I mean? So,
I agree.
So yeah, we just might talk down upon them, but that's just because we love. Yeah, like you said, we love the entire series so much and everything that it represents and all that stuff. So
yeah, I felt a little bit guilty about being so negative on those two, because I really was. You were too, but I think I was a little bit like, I think I said fuck this movie a few times too many.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, and I didn't want to come off that way, but I guess I'm just passionate about the whole series.
Yeah.
So now I'm gushing about. Now it's a fucking love fest. I'm fucking, now I'm going to say great things. The only negative about this movie, and it's a small one, and it's not nobody's fault. It's not anybody's fault. The lighting in a lot of the scenes is pretty rough towards the end of the movie. You can't see some of the shit going on. However, with the Blu-ray you can. The Blu-ray is fucking beautiful.
Okay, I haven't seen that.
What? Oh, you haven't seen the Blu-ray for this movie?
No. Mm-mm.
It is fucking possibly the best Blu-ray in my collection. How good everything looks. It is crystal clear. Crystal Lake is crystal clear. Fucking, it's beautiful. The wood setting, everything, the lighting, everything is... I'm telling you, it's like seeing it for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
The blood is fucking excellent looking. It is the best blood I've seen. The way it was colored and the way it looks. Just, yeah, completely. I think it's a tremendous Blu-ray. Yeah, and it's fucking in the bargain bin. Right. $7.88 at Walmart. You can have this fucker right now. It's well worth the money. I paid $20 for it.
Shit. Well, maybe I will get that new box set that's out or coming out or whatever.
Yeah, that's one reason to get it. Sure, for sure.
But yeah, let's go back to the ending of this movie. Now, I'm kind of polarized on the ending because the jump scare with Jason coming out and Alice and the canoe is fucking brilliant, just brilliant. I mean, the music is right on point. Fucking the look of Jason is just ridiculously awesome, but it's kind of a super high point, and then she, wakes up in the bed, and I still think that scene is cool. It has a little explanation. It's kind of it's kind of cool. She's talking to the sheriff or the cop or whatever. But have you ever watched this movie and then turned it off right after Jason comes out of the water and just said that's the ending? Have you ever done that?
No, I've never done that. But when you
Mm-hmm.
were just talking about it before you even got to that, and I had a feeling that this is what you were getting to.
Yeah.
That's kind of a little bit of a downer at the end.
Yeah, because the
That they
Jason
just
part
would
is
have
so high.
Yes.
And then they go and they do, 3 more minutes of just her sitting in the bed, and it's like, well, yeah, I don't know. It's kind of it hit the high point when he came out of the water, and I don't know. I take it both ways because I take it both ways, guys.
Hey now,
But,
what am I doing? With you?
I love it when he comes out of the water.
Oh.
It's so exciting, but I also love her trying to convince somebody that she was attacked. It felt so real to her and all that stuff. I do like that, but it's just a come down after what happens. So
You know what I like? At the very, very end, after she says that, he's still there, and then the fucking mellow part, and they just show the fucking water.
Show
and
the water. Yes,
it's
very
creepy.
good. Yeah, it's kind of like the breathing at the end of Halloween, sort of. I mean, in its own way. Yeah,
I feel you on that. Yes, it's showing. Yeah, and I think that's very effective.
Mm-hmm.
So because of that, and because of the thing after, they are cool. But I will meet you halfway on that. If they did end the movie just like that, and he's fucking pulling her under, and the canoe flips and fucking underwater it goes, and then the screen would have just went to black, and then and the credits would have started rolling.
Mm-hmm.
Holy fuck, that probably would have been a better ending.
Yeah. Oh God, dude. I've done that a couple times where I watched it and just turned it off right then. It's like that's it. End on the highest of notes, and it's just great. I mean, the intro to part 2 probably would have been a little different, but we'll get into that in a second. So,
one thing probably would have led to the other in that situation, though, where I bet people were just spouting off different ideas when they said, "Okay, we're going to do the jump scare at the end to show this Jason." Then someone else probably piped up, "Well, maybe we're thinking sequel. Then what if something should happen? Maybe we should leave it open in case this is, in some ways it's become successful against all odds. We say, oh, then he's still there. Maybe someone else piped in there, and it was, there might have been a discussion between the producers and the director and what have you, and they just kept saying, okay, well, if we're going to do this, we may as well go all in and then do this thing at the end, and then it's even. And I guess at the time, it would have been great to be in on that conversation. It would have been exciting. Yeah, everyone's saying, let's do this, and okay, yeah, that's going to be great. All right, great idea. Let's film it. So I could see getting caught up in the momentum of the original jump scare and then doing what they did at the end, and it did still end great. And like I said, when they go on the lake and that little subtle music they play and they just show it, and those guys were probably thrilled, and they probably couldn't wait to show that to people.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it. Now, do you think that that end scare was Alice's dream, or do you think that happened and she got away, and that's the actual Jason that's in the sequels?
Well, see, I want to say it did happen because she didn't know that he was fucked up looking, that he was deformed.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, she wouldn't have been able to piece that together because she didn't know who he was until Betsy Palmer told her at the very end. Yeah.
I mean, she knew a little bit. Not enough comes out. She almost kind of says it, you think, and then she stops herself. She was like, Jason was, and then she stopped.
Yeah.
He wasn't a very good swimmer. It was like she was going to allude to more. That's because she's a good actress, and the delivery of the lines was great, and just the way she was speaking of her son. But looking back on it now, like, oh wow, it's almost like she was going to say he had whatever. He had these issues physically, mentally, whatever. He should have been watched every minute, the whole nine. So it kind of alludes to that he's not normal, but there's no way she's going to know how fucked up he looked. That he was, that he was a mongoloid and everything else, and maybe just like she was beheaded, obviously, and he's still at the bottom of the lake, and fucking now it becomes a little bit, almost like zombie Jason in a way.
Well, that's kind of what I want to get into because, I mean, obviously, I don't think they were thinking sequel, but when it made so much money, okay, we got to make a sequel. How do we do it? Well, we take Jason, we make him the killer. Okay, let's go. But yeah, so if that really did happen, if that really was Jason at the end, what the fuck has he been doing? Did he really die? Is he supernatural this whole time, like a Victor Crowley kind of thing, just looking for his mother, every day, every night, that kind of scenario? Or did he live and is just a little boy living in the woods? How would that have worked? I don't know.
There's no answer because chronologically it's impossible because when part 2 starts, it's right after the events of part 1, and he's a grown man.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So he doesn't go from being
at least older, or at least years older. So yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. Yeah, it
doesn't make sense. It was just they did it, and they probably weren't thinking sequel, but maybe. But then they probably didn't put any thought. They were probably just so excited at the idea of the jump scare at the end and everything else. They said, let's put it out there. It's going to make this movie even better, So they did it. Then when they had all that success, okay, well, now we got to make a sequel. There's no other route you could go except Jason. It's got to be Jason, obviously. And, they're just like, well, people want to see more of this shit. We're going to put more of this shit out, and, you're not going to have a 9-year-old boy walk around killing people. Wouldn't have been as effective. I mean, they could have.
Yeah, bloody birthday.
Right. Oh, God, right?
So, isn't it amazing that if you were to do that in this day and age, just retcon something, just change the continuity that drastically from the next year, people would fucking lose their mind. Yeah. And people would not be open to it whatsoever. I think, with the internet and stuff like that, and even home video, like people may not have even seen, the first one, or forgotten what happened, or, have a muddled memory and stuff like that. And people are just more forgiving. I know I was, I just thought of it. I didn't put that much thought into it. I just thought, no, that was Jason at the beginning or at the end of the first one, and here he is now. Here's his continued adventures of Jason Voorhees at Camp Crystal Lake, all that shit.
Right.
Didn't put that much thought into it, but nowadays, fuck you. The internet would fucking explode, and there would be a fucking bloody uproar.
Yeah, and that's too bad that it's come to that.
Yeah.
Because they're slasher movies. Now, in this movie and in part 2, just about everything was done right. There's really nothing, from where I sit, you could say negatively about that, except that small thing between 1 and 2 and the question of how is it possible. Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay, that's fine, but that's one little thing. That everything else about these movies is fucking top notch. You're not going to get a more entertaining slasher than the movies we're talking about now. Mm-hmm. And I'm sorry, so you have to overlook that, because look at the shit we have nowadays. Yeah, they wouldn't do that, but in the meantime, we're watching movies that are nowhere near half as good as these movies. They just,
yeah, I mean, movies will not put in a strip Monopoly game because no one plays Monopoly anymore. It's too long, drawn out, and boring.
Yeah, well, they'll be doing fucking Candy Crush freaking strip or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Some ridiculous thing,
Oh,
yeah.
Man. So yeah, let's give out some awards here.
Yeah, we got some. Sure.
Banana that you'd most like to peel. Shit. I would go with, I can't remember anybody's name.
Well, I'll tell you mine. Maybe it'll jar yours. I say Marcy.
And
Marcy by far.
That is the gal with the long hair that gets the bow and arrow kill. That one?
No. Oh, Marcy is the girl with Kevin Bacon. She's the one that has the dream about the rain turns to blood and all that. I think she's a very attractive girl. Very pretty. And she's honestly the only one in that movie. No, I wouldn't say that the other girls were. No, nobody's ugly, but they were cute, I guess. But to me, Marcy was very pretty. Since the first time I saw the movie, I was attracted to her. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Alice is definitely too mousy, kind of in this movie. What is that girl's name? I'm trying to look up the cast right now. The gal that gets it's really a great scene, and it's also my favorite death too. It's when she it's an off-screen death, which is weird because I love the buildup of it so much. And yeah, she's wandering through the rain, and and it's just a build up scene, and
Brenda.
she's at the archery part of the camp.
Yes,
you know what I mean. And then all of a
Yeah,
sudden the
and
lights
the
come
arrow.
on and stuff like that. I just love that. I guess it's the atmosphere and stuff. You don't even see her die,
Right.
Which I guess can't really count. I guess. So I can't
Well,
count
not for that. Her name is Brenda, though. If that's what
Brenda,
you want to know.
okay. She's definitely the gal that I would peel. Yeah, so I can't count that as a kill. That would just be stupid. I'd have to go with.
For Banana Split you're talking about? Now, if you're talking Banana Split, yeah, we're going elsewhere.
For Banana Split, I'm gonna go with Annie.
Nice.
Yeah,
Me too.
I like the throat slash of Annie. It's right at the beginning. I like her how bubbly she is, and then when she realizes that there's danger, I just love that whole scene with her because she's just so happy and bubbly and just loves everything. And,
Right.
And then she's got to jump out of the car and all that and the whole chase. But then her throat gets slashed and it looks really awesome.
Yes,
And,
it looks very real. It really does.
Very real. Yeah.
And I'm surprised you went with it. A lot of people overlooked that. I thought you might have gone with the Marcy with the axe to the head or the kill with Kevin Bacon. Everyone seems to love that one with the arrow through the throat. And they're all great. And it's Savini and it's fucking top notch. And, I could go on and on. But I've always loved that Annie kill. It's done. It really looks, to me, it looks very real.
Something about a throat
great.
slash,
Yeah.
just an axe to the head. It looks great and stuff. But to me, I don't get a sense that will happen to me. But whenever I see the throat slash, it just I can feel that against my throat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's what makes it for me. Like the axe to the head, I can't really get a sense of what an axe, because I just can't see that happening. The throat slash, even though it's never going to happen, somehow I just get more of a sense of that happening to me. So that's why I like it.
Yeah, I just think it looks great. And in the axe to the head, you see the aftermath. You see the swing of it, and then you see the aftermath. Not the aftermath, but you don't see the actual,
it's
penetration.
It's edited kind of weird, and her reaction after she gets hit is kind of...
Yeah, it's like she's crying.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Yeah,
it is a little funny. It's a good death. I'm not going to knock any death in this movie. I like the way they all looked, even if it was discovered after, because that was badass with the arrows and all the shit that was discovered in the final chasing, which is fucking tremendous. Which something we didn't neglected to say how great that is, and that really, Halloween was a good chase scene too, but it was mostly because of Michael. And the way he moved and the way it was done. But this, everything fell into place. It was just a great dramatic chase scene. Mrs. Voorhees' turn and everything that happened. There's not a boring moment in it, I don't think. I think it's very dramatic. It's very suspenseful. The music is fits perfectly like everything else in this movie with the music. And the chase scene, oh boy, it's great. And her beheading at the end. There's so many good kills in this movie, but I'm surprised we both agree, but yeah, it's great. That's fucking that Annie throat slit, and it's in the middle of the day, which is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see a lot
you
of
don't see
slashers,
a lot of that. Yeah,
but people get whacked in the daytime, So
it can't be as good as that paintball scene from 6.
No comment. I'm all positive.
All right, so let's rate this thing. I mean, if we're just going 1 out of 5, I'm going to give this a 5. Definite classic. I love this movie. There's just no doubt about it. 5.
Yep, same here. Not even bat an eyelash. It's definitely a 5. It's in my top 5 horror movies of all time. And this is the first 5 we've ever given on this show. And we both did it, and that for good reason. It deserves it.
Well deserved. Very good movie. Hats off to Sean Cunningham, even though he probably never made anything watchable ever again. Has he? I don't know. I don't think that guy. Yeah, I don't think he made anything I'd ever want to watch again.
Watchable, huh? He did something not too long ago. What the hell was it? His name was on it, and I don't think it was bad. What the fuck was it? Well, I'm not going to start that he did freaking, we know that he was responsible for
Part 9.
The movie that shall not be named, because I'm just trying to stay positive. So he's responsible for that, and what are you going to say there? Right. But I think he did do something else, but whatever.
Yeah, who knows?
Last House on the Left, wasn't he involved with it? He produced.
Yeah. I mean,
he produced a new one.
Okay.
Remake, I should say.
He did something with the original too. I mean, it was Wes Craven directed it. Maybe he wrote it or co-wrote it or produced it. Who knows? But yeah.
Maybe House. Did he direct House? No. You know what he did? Steve Miner directed House. He produced. He did a lot of very good producing, but directing just isn't his thing, because he did both Last House on the Left, if I'm not mistaken. So he's worked alongside some greats, but his only great as a director is this.
It's
but
definitely
boy,
this, yeah.
what a great to have.
Yeah,
shit.
True.
You know?
Yeah, so let's keep it moving straight on to the other side, and that is Friday the 13th, Part 2.
Yeah, we think it's over. But is it? Because we got Part 2. Yeah. Whoa, hey, you remember this part? Yeah. It's like, now Paul is the new head counselor, see, and he's explaining all the rules to the new counselors.
Being a counselor isn't the gravy summer job everybody thinks it is. No punishment.
Then we find out what happens if you don't pay attention to the camping rules.
No seconds on dessert for Jeff and Sandra tonight.
Oh, yeah, and then Ginny shows up, of course, and she does a little philosophizing about murder.
Some kind of out-of-control psychopath? A frightened retard? A child trapped in a man's body?
When full moons rule the evening sky, Camp Crystal Lake begins to die. With young and able counselors slain, there's just one boy that will remain. His name is Jason, and these are his days. It's Friday the 13th on USA. Just pray that Jason's not after you as we begin Friday the 13th, Part 2.
Holy shit. I don't want to show my hand, but I will. This movie is flat out aces. And this movie is easily my favorite of the entire franchise, hands down. I love Jason in it. I love the look of Jason in it. I love the opening scene. The campfire story is fucking, just forget about it, dude. They set the scene so well. It's fucking perfect. I love the actors in this one. Whereas in the first Friday, I could take or leave some of the actors and stuff like that. But I love the actors in this. The kills, they fucking stepped up the kills, man. There are some fucking great ones in this. And the only down thing I have to say about this movie is, maybe not. Maybe we'll get into other things. But the one thing right off the bat is the introduction. It goes on just a little too long on rewatches, I think. But it still works. It's still a great suspense scene. It doesn't really make sense why Jason would, how did he find Alice? How did he get there, with a bag over his head or whatever? How did he get there with his mom's head? To put in the, he's like, I'm going to fuck with this lady. She killed my mom. I'm going to hide my mom's head in her fridge to scare her, I mean, logistically, it doesn't make sense, but it works as far as a film goes. You know what I mean? So, yeah. What are your thoughts about Friday 2?
I'm right there with you. Again, it is my favorite of the series. Well, I kind of say it's tied with Part 1. That's the way I kind of rank them together. I kind of go back and forth, mostly because Part 1, with the jump scare at the end and the twist of Mrs. Voorhees, that's the one thing that sets it apart from the others. But overall, a movie beginning to end, this is the one. So when all is said and done, I kind of have them even, that I love them equally. But I do love the movie, and there's really nothing bad you could say. Jason's look is fucking badass and scary. It's really, for me, the only time he's really, well, I'll get to the next movie next, but there's something that happens there too. But in this movie, it's genuinely scary to me that he has the sack on his head, and his presence is scary. He's not that hulking mass of a man. No,
he's not. He's kind of and that's why when we were talking about the last movie where you said he was a full-grown man, it's like, well, to me, he didn't come off that way because he came off kind of scared and sheepish. You know what I mean?
True.
And, like when you finally see like wide shots of him and stuff like that, and he's not the reason he's fright-inducing is because of his look. Other than that, his body language doesn't really portray like frightening that much. And in fact, I think there's one point where one of the gals pulls a chainsaw on him or something like that, and he's like, I'm fucking out of here. He starts starts running, dude. He's like, whereas in future movies he would be the opposite. That would just make he would just it'd be like swatting a fly or whatever. You got a chainsaw, well, I got invincibility or whatever. So
right.
Yeah,
and he does look small in the other part too, more so than ever. There's one part towards the end when Ginny is in the car and he's coming into the top on the pitchfork of the car top, and then she opens the car door on him and he falls down. He looks almost like a little kid because he falls down, and it's the way it's filmed, and he kind of like rolls up, almost looks like a fucking Oompa Loompa for a second. But it's funny.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, he looks small. And when I said full-grown man, I guess I was just going with the fact that the way they talk about him in the movie, because he drowns in 1957. It's now 1981, so he's 25. You know what I'm saying? He's at that age where you have to say, just he's a full-grown man. That's the age he is.
Is it 1981? Because doesn't this
Part
movie
2?
Does it open with like a 5 years later kind of thing? Does it? I think so.
I don't think it says 5 years later. I believe some time has passed, but I believe it's less than a year because you can kind of see when she's talking to her parents on the phone that she's trying to piece her life together and she's moved out, and by what she says on the phone conversation. Now, I could be wrong. I always took it that it was I don't know, 3 to 6 months later or something.
I don't know. I gotta sit down and watch that maybe tonight. So.
Or maybe it is 5 years.
That's what I thought. I thought it opened with like a 5 years later kind of thing.
Yeah. You know what? I think you're right. Now that I thought a little, I think it is 5 fucking years. So that would be, so it's kind of set in like 1985. So in that case, he'd be even older. He'd be fucking closing in on 30.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So he would be a man.
Yeah, the timeline of these first few movies is kind of weird because, this one jumps ahead and then 2, 3, and 4 are like within a 2-day span, really. So,
right.
Yeah, they're all right next to each other.
But I'll tell you, I'm just gonna say it's the scariest one, and he's scary to me. The things that he does are scary. There's some shots in this movie that aren't replicated in any other one. That are genuinely scary to me, like scary to the point that like I compare them to some of the shit that goes on with Michael in Halloween 1. There's a couple really really genuine scenes that to me are like, holy fuck, that's fucking scary. And I don't say that about a lot of shit in the series, but I definitely say it about this. And he's smart, and the kills are creative in this movie. They're not anywhere near as gory. Unfortunately, they got cut. I don't know why, but they did. And but they're creative kills. But Jason himself is very creative. Just what you were saying in the beginning about the head in the thing and the phone call. How could he have her number?
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Scratch your head about. But he was calculated, and he did shit later on in the movie too. He was thinking. He didn't do that in any other movie except this. I dare to say.
Yeah, he got all the other kids to go to a bar so that some of these kids would be left alone. That's something I never understood about this movie. Is like, or that's something I took away from it. I guess watching it as a young age, it's like, well, okay, so I want to live, so I'll go to a bar. You know
what that is? That they didn't have it in the budget. I guess he could have killed 25 people.
Yeah.
And they could have started it sooner. But this movie, they want to focus on only so many characters anyway.
Sure.
Supposedly you're going to care for them. And in this movie, you probably have that more than ever, arguably. This or maybe the final chapter. But the best cast of characters, I would say.
Yeah,
it's either this or final chapter. But you agree it's probably this.
Oh, yeah. The lead, the final girl, what's her
Oh,
name?
Ginny.
Ginny. Yeah, she is. Let me think about this real quick before I say it. Yeah, she's probably my favorite final girl. Definitely. Just her acting, alone. She's super intelligent when it comes to the end.
Yeah.
That whole interaction, that iconic shot with her holding the pitchfork is fucking. That's
right?
Brilliant to me. There's just so many iconic kind of shots in this movie. Like there's one where there's a shot of Jason's hand. He's holding a knife. You see the girl in the background, but all you see is the hand with the knife coming at her, and his fucking fingernails all fucking bruised or something. And just, I mean, it's so simple, but man, does it look good. There's just piles and piles of stuff like that in this movie.
In that particular scene with him holding the knife and him killing that girl, that whole fucking sequence is brilliant and scary. When she goes in the room and she looks around and the camera pans and you see the bed and this motherfucker sits up in the bed.
Yeah.
He was hiding and waiting with that fucking sack on it, and that's the first time
you see him, and it's a holy shit moment.
Yes, man. It's scary. Imagine being in that position. Walking in that fucking room and look and this fucking he's deformed, and you know how I am with that shit. That fucking scares me.
Yeah.
So that's something else that resonates with me in this movie and the Jason character. That's why it's scary, because to be in that situation, that would be you can't get any scarier. This dude's fucked up looking. He has one eye cut in his fucking pillow sack or whatever, and he sits up and he calculated the whole thing. How fucking scary! I mean, that's a shit your fucking pants moment right there.
Yep.
I mean, wow. And then he's following her with the knife, and you see his nail, and unfortunately, the kill is just a quick little slash.
Yeah, but it's everything else,
Right.
That makes
right.
Mm-hmm.
That's just it. The suspense of it, everything that led up to it, and this how scary it was. Wonderful. I mean, imagine if this movie would not have had the gore cut. Then I'd be saying that it's the best fucking horror movie of all time. I would say bar none. That would have put it completely over the edge with me.
Mm-hmm.
If this had the same gore that Part 1 had, it was the same movie, then it'd be a hands down, for me.
Yeah, we're talking about characters. This movie also has one of the hottest fucking girls in any of these movies, or possibly any fucking horror movie I've ever seen. But I don't even know her name. But the girl in the Mickey Mouse shirt with the shorts.
The girl that goes swimming with the fucking guy, and then because that's when you see how hot she is.
Oh my god, dude! She's the banana I am gonna peel.
Yeah.
She is so fucking hot, dude. It's ridiculous to me.
I agree. Mm-hmm. I agree. What the fuck is her name? Oh, is it Terry? Is it Terry?
I don't know. None of these actors are on IMDb, so I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it's Terry.
Yeah, she is so hot, it's fucking retarded to me. But yeah, her ass in those shorts, I mean, holy shit.
Yeah, I hear you. And there's a couple cuties. There's a couple cuties. Yeah, and I'm definitely peeling it too. I think Vicky's cute. The girl that did the scene we were just talking about, the girl that fucks the kid in the wheelchair, Mark. And I think the other girl's cute, but they didn't really do a good job, because you could tell she has a smoking body under that shit. The couple, freaking what the fuck, Sandy and what the fuck. Why is my mind? I've seen a movie a million times. No seconds for what do you call it on dessert? Is it Mark and Sandra?
I don't fucking remember. But I know exactly who you're talking about, so yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, I always thought she was hot. They just don't do a good job presenting her. She's kind of covered up, and she's a little her hairstyle's a little, I don't know, a little big, but her body, I mean, you could see she's wearing those cut off jean shorts and shit, and
isn't it amazing that they were able to pull this off? I mean, this is my favorite of the fucking franchise. It's the second one. They kept the same formula, but they changed the villain. It's like, they almost had nothing. It's like, good thing we shot that last, jump scare so people kind of have a reference as to who Jason is, and shit like that. But because otherwise, they would have had fucking nothing. And I'm amazed that it actually it works, because they like I said, they kept the formula, but when you have to change a villain like that, it's kind of most likely it would not work. But since they got the look of him almost perfect, and all the kills were in the same style, and it's very good, lots of great suspense. This movie worked surprisingly, and to its credit, because it's my favorite.
Right, and credit Steve Miner. He knew what he was doing.
Mm-hmm.
He knew what he was doing when he made it, and the studio probably had something to say as well. Make it as much like the first one as possible, and he did. And it's the same atmosphere. I mean, the music is the same. It's great. Manfredini once again. Everything. It's but he adds something to it. He adds having Jason as the killer is it adds another element to the movie where, of course, that's much scarier than Mrs. Voorhees. And the shit that he does. Of course it's scary. There's scary, scary scenes in this movie. There's that scene, and then there's the scene at the end, which not a lot of people talk about. But when Ginny gets to the shack, and she first comes in there, she's already being chased by Jason, and she first gets to the shack, and she, somebody help me, and she gets there, and we know it's Jason's shack, She doesn't know, and it's before she discovers, the shrine to his mother and everything else. You can see Jason outside, and there's no music. The music is very very mellow, so it's not like nothing's happening yet. And you see Jason through that window running towards the shack, and he's going to pounce on her any second. He's going to open that door, and he's there, and she has no idea he's coming. And that, to me, has always been. I had that scene right up there with the scene with Michael and Halloween when he sits up after the closet attack and turns his head slowly.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's two of the creepiest scenes ever. And in the Blu-ray on this one, for part 2, you can actually see Jason coming even further out than you do normally. Yeah. So it's even that much more creepy. It's always been creepy to me. Not a lot of people talk about it. Mm-hmm. That's always been a scene for me that I see him coming, running to the window and knowing he's going to be there any sec. That's fucking scary shit.
Mm-hmm.
And, they added that to it. There was nothing like that in part 1. I mean, yeah, it was... I shouldn't say nothing like it. It was just different,
Mm-hmm.
It was suspenseful, when she's locked in the closet, that food pantry, and and then she comes in the room. That's all great. And is she gonna, when you see the freaking doorknob turn,
Mm-hmm.
That's part 1. That's great. But this had that, but it also had, the presence of Jason being scary because of his look. And
he is scarier than his mother because you know who he is, and he's unpredictable because he's probably insane, or to some point. I mean, Mrs. Voorhees was clearly insane as well, but he is a guy living out in the middle of nowhere,
right?
And how did he survive? And he kept his mother's head. There's just so much more unpredictability with this fucking dude. And you know who he is the whole time. It's not, you're not wondering if it's Paul or fucking
right.
Muffy or whatever the fuck
Muffy. That whole fucking scene, that's great. but yeah, it's in the legend of Jason, which they discuss in the bar. That whole thing with Ginny being into the child psychology, that's what she's going. That's her college gimmick, and the whole nine. She discusses that, and that's cool. The things that she said. There's serious moments of the film, and they play it perfectly because they just kind of laugh it off. Ned's over there laughing about it, or Ted, and Paul's just kind of dismissing it. He's a legend, but she nails it. The whole fucking a boy trapped in a man's body, and fucking this boy beast running out there. She says, doing let's think outside of the box and this and that. She's fucking dead on. And,
yeah. And she uses that, right at the end, and that's what makes her one of the best final girls. Is that not only is she good looking and she's just well acted, but she's super intelligent. I mean, for her to do that and to be daring enough to put on this dead woman's sweater, and shit like that, and confront him with words like that to trick him. That's pretty daring, and it's pretty smart too.
It's fucking great, and she is the best. She is the best final girl. There's just putting that in, figuring that into the equation. There's no question that she's the best, because the whole thing that she does at the end is outstanding.
Yeah,
what she thought to do. It's classic shit, man.
Speaking of the ending, are you aware of the ending part that they cut out with after the aftermath? The next they filmed it with a real person in the Mrs. Voorhees makeup, and they slowly zoom in, and the original ending, it freeze frames, or the ending that we see, it freeze frames, and then that's it. It's pretty creepy kind of style ending, and the one that they filmed, her eyes open. I've never seen footage of this. Is that out there to see?
No, it's not out there to see. And she, from what I've heard, I think I read it in the book, in the Crystal Lake Memories book, they were going to have her just wink, like a fucking nod.
Thank God they had the sense to cut that. I mean, I understand that they wanted to do a kind of a shocker ending like they did with the first one, but oh my God, they would have immediately jumped to part 6 territory with that.
Yeah, man.
Holy shit.
Did not belong.
No.
Whoever thought of that, well, whatever. But whoever decided to fucking, put the stop on it, very good. Thank God it's right, because...
One benefit from it, though, is that those last few seconds are a little more intense, because you can tell that it's a real person. You know what I mean? You can tell there's more life behind it, because it's an actual person in makeup and not just a head sitting there. So, you can't really put your finger on it. I mean, having the information now, we understand, but, it's just something else about it that you can't really pinpoint, because it's a real person as opposed to a prop. If they were just zooming in on a prop, it wouldn't have the same effect.
You're right, exactly. Mm-hmm. And it's just as cool and it's just as creepy as the ending of part 1, the aftermath, when they're zooming in. Part 1, they're zooming in on the lake, and they have it subtle, and that's creepy. Yeah. And then this, when they go, and the music they play is great. And fuck, it's scary. Even to the very last frame of the film, to me, that's just scary shit that they even show that there. It just shows you how fucking demented he is, and just everything that he went through all that. And even before, we were talking about the formula, how he followed the same formula. I mean, they did. I mean, even with the other thing, they had the jump scare at the end.
Yeah,
you thought, which is fucking great. I mean,
it's brilliant. It works. To me, it works. I mean, it works. I don't want to say better than part 1, but it's just different enough, because since you just really think that it's over. You know what I mean? And more so than in the first one, for some reason. I don't know how, and I can't even explain it. But you just, I guess because the dog coming back, and there's her and Paul,
right.
The music is swelling just even more so than the first one. It just really just seems like the end. But nope, they pull the fast one once again.
And the look of him. Holy
what do you think about that? I mean, we both, I think you said that you really liked his sackhead looks, but what do you think about the ginger, the long hair look of him?
It doesn't bother me at all, because it's fucking, it looks more realistic than what he became. It looks more like somebody that would have that condition or whatever it is, that half of his face is deformed and he has hair here and not here, and that makes it more scary that he's just untreated and he's just out there fucking whatever. If hair grows here, fine.
He's living on his own.
Shaving.
Yeah, he's not getting haircuts. He's not going to sports clips every fucking day, or the barber shop or whatever. Yeah, exactly. Of course he would look like that. And then all of a sudden he becomes like a straight bald dude in the next one. I mean, we'll get into it, but...
Yeah, I understand. And in a way it kind of had to, because they were going to abandon that for whatever reason. But I think he looks great when he comes out and he fucking grabs her. And, it's tremendous. And even before that, there's more great shit when they're being chased in the final scene, in the one part when his hand breaks through the glass, when it's Ginny by herself of that one window, and she's backing up, and obviously it's Sackhead, it's scary, and boom, comes in and he fucking with his hand comes through the glass, and in the one part when they're in there and they first realize that shit's hit the fan and people are missing, and you could see him too, and you could see him even better in the Blu-ray once again, and Paul, there's someone in this room. Paul, there's someone in this fucking room. And when you see him standing up, it's even clearer in the Blu-ray. And that's fucking scary shit, man. Just that final chase when Ginny's by herself, and then even after even though there's two people, and I'm really not, I alluded to it earlier, I don't like having more than one person in the final chase. Half the final chase, she's by herself anyway.
Right, exactly, yeah. He's not there the whole time, so.
Right, it leads up to it and everything else, but I'll tell you, it's fucking done perfectly. You want a slasher movie and a chase and everything else they do in this movie, execution is fucking right on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And everything's great.
The whole, they utilize the mythology of it all. It's like, it's this little boy, he's been living out there, he saw his mother killed. It just works perfectly. Other movies try to set this kind of mythology up, and it just doesn't work. This movie, it seems realistic in that aspect, and the whole campfire tale of it all is just perfect, because we've all been there. We've all heard something like this story at a campfire, or a similar setting, and so it's great. I love it.
It is fucking great. There's not one bad thing I could say about it from beginning to end, and fucking, there was something else I was going to say and it slipped my mind. Something else about this, this movie's overlooked, and it's a shame because for one reason only, he's fucking wearing
it's not the hockey mask.
Right.
Which, don't get me wrong, I love the hockey mask look. It's fucking iconic.
Yes, it is.
It looks great. There's nothing really wrong with it at all, but it's not the same. I want to say this movie is more, it's a weird compliment, but it's more innocent, whereas by the time the third one comes around, okay, it's the third time we're doing this. There's other movies already like this. It's really starting to be a formula now. Whereas this one, you can tell they were still feeling it out and stuff like that. So that's where the innocence comes in, I guess, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I hear you, and I love recommending this movie to people because it's overlooked.
Yeah,
have you ever seen him when he had the sack on his head? Anytime this discussion comes up with Jason or Friday, and people talk to me about it, I go, "Have you ever seen part 2?" And they go, "Well, I don't know." Well, he wore a sack on his head, not a hockey mask. No, I don't think I've seen that. I'm like, go fucking watch it now.
Yeah,
I love pushing this movie on people probably because of the sack on its head and not the hockey mask. It's overlooked because the franchise took on a life of its own with the iconic hockey mask.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, you said it. Yeah, absolutely. So hey, we didn't say what our
banana split.
Our banana split of the movie is. Mine is the guy, the wheelchair dude. He gets the
Mark.
Okay. He gets the machete to the face, which is it just comes out. He's just rolling along, and he comes out of nowhere, and wham, hits him in the face, and that's shocking. But probably my favorite part about it is as he rolls down the stairs, all janky and stuff like that, and then the camera does this like weird quick zoom, and then it blows out to white or something like that, and has some weird effect. That entire sequence, just is perfect to me, in my opinion. It's so exciting right at the beginning, and then him going down the stairs, and then the ending of it, of the camera work. I fucking love that, dude. I can't get enough of that.
I hear you, and I think, and I agree with you. That's the banana split for sure. And
okay.
Of course I do, and I think universally, many people share that sentiment about this movie. It's something that the fans of this franchise, most of them, consider that like a top 5 kill even in the series.
Mm-hmm. I do also love the the double spear to
it's
to
cool.
the couple. That it's just an interesting idea to take two people doing it and just fucking skewer them both. But
yeah, Jeff and Sandy. Yeah, now I remember their name. I remember their fucking kill. I remember their names. Yeah,
yeah,
Jeff and Sandy.
You need a trigger. Yeah,
right. Yeah, and that was it. You know what else was really good is not Mark, Jeff, the guy that was swimming with fucking that whole scene when he's hanging up. Yeah. And he's fucking hanging in the tree.
Yeah.
That's great. It got cut just like 3 seconds too soon because of the censors. But it was a great throat slash. When you see it happen, he's hanging upside down, and it's a machete, and it's a quick throat slash, and you just see the blood just start to spit out, and they cut it. And it's too bad. If that would have been, shown in its entirety, that might have been the best kill of the movie. Because it was the whole thing was set up well, and it was, and it would have been great. But whatever. It's not taken away from the film by any means. I'm not saying one negative thing about it.
No, I mean, like I said, I think the beginning is the only negative stuff I have with the Alice thing, and the fact that it doesn't make sense that Jason finds her and all this stuff, and it's a little slow and stuff like that. But I'm just nitpicking. I mean, I still love it. I still don't mind watching it. I have a blast every single time, and I can't recommend this movie enough. It's a 5. Give it a 5. We're flawed in the fact that we can't. I like this movie better than the first one. So if we were on a different rating scale, maybe out of 10 or something, I would rate. I would rate part 2 higher than 1, but I'd love them both, so they're both 5s.
Right. And I agree, and they are both 5s. There's no question about it. Yeah, I mean, if I had the choice, if someone said you can only watch one Friday the 13th for the rest of your life, then yeah, my answer is part 2. Even though I say I like it equally with 1, I like 1 for different reasons.
Yeah,
but I appreciate. Right, it is different, and there's some things about it plot-wise and with the gore that are great. But part 2, to sit down and watch something beginning to end and just, you watch it and you just fucking love it. You feel like you're almost at the camp with them. It's just something, that we've watched so many times and for so many years, and it's just the cast, the crew, everything. It's just, everything works out perfectly, and it's it's of course it's a 5.
Yeah. Now let me ask you this before we move on. They had originally wanted Adrienne King to come back as the heroine of this movie. Right. But she didn't because she had a stalker. She didn't want to be out in public and all that stuff. And that makes sense. But
good thing that she didn't.
Exactly, dude. Because I don't think I would have liked this movie nearly as much if she came back and was in the whole thing. I'm so glad they killed her off in the beginning.
You're right. I'm not into the same person being stalked for several films. It's just not. And it wouldn't have. You wouldn't have had that great scene with Ginny doing what she did at the end with her psychology background.
Exactly. It opened it up for someone else, dare I say, better to come in and challenge the villain, Yeah. Absolutely.
And it's iconic. And the way it ends is iconic. And the final confrontation and, you've done well and mommy's pleased. That whole fucking thing. I fucking love it.
Love it.
I just love that scene, everything. And then he sees the head when she raises it up and he looks back and forth, that quick thing. And then... and now just to say something fun, I'll tell you what I love. I don't know which one of these guys did this, but I give him the credit as being Jason, between the fucking controversy between fucking Steve Dash and Warrington Gillette. I don't know who was in the mask when it was, once again, penetrated by the fucking by the machete. But I've always loved it. I've always loved the way that he's fucking sitting there dazed for a second, and the way he rolls his eye back,
the
and
eye
then
roll.
falls.
Yep.
I think that's hard to fucking to reproduce.
Yeah.
I think it's great. Whichever guy did that eye roll, in my opinion, that's the real Jason. I don't give a cast everything else aside because I've always loved that. I know I don't know, say it's cheesy or I'm a fucking weirdo or whatever, but I think that I've always I've got a little humor out of it. But I think it's great the way he rolls his eye back. They thought to do that. I'm sure nobody told him to do it.
Yeah, it's all it's in slow mo, and it's very effective. I love it. Yeah,
it's great. And one more little tidbit: Steve Miner, You know what Steve Miner did after Friday the 13th Part 2? And the reason I know is because okay. Fucking asshole. Right, yes. Part 3. No, but what he went on to after he was done with Friday the 13th, and the only reason I know is because I've been watching the shit out of this series on Netflix for the past couple months.
Oh, okay. What's that?
He went on to direct, of all things, The Wonder Years.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I noticed the first episode I watched.
That's funny.
He was the director. He was like the first year, maybe year and a half, maybe 2 years. But he was the director of The Wonder Years. Yeah,
that's cool. Well, good for him. You know, I mean, he's done some stuff that's not so great, but he's done this. He did 3. He did, H2O. So he's got some good stuff under his belt, definitely.
Oh yeah, he's definitely had a finer body of work than Cunningham.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Wonder Years is another part of it, completely different and kind of funny that he goes from that to fucking something as lighthearted as the Wonder Years.
That's funny. I wish Jason had like a voiceover, Fred Savage style, like the Wonder Years.
Can you imagine? Holy fuck! And there I was. Soon I discovered that everything is led up to this between me and Ginny Fields. This was the love of my life. I thought it was my mother. And then instead of talking about fucking his best friend Paul, he could have been talking about Paul Holt. Oh, Paul strikes again.
That's hilarious. All right. Well, that pretty much wraps up part 2. And before we get into the third dimension, let's take a quick break, and we'll be right back after this.
It's the fabulous Jason O'Madic as seen on Friday the 13th. It slices, it dices, it even makes julienne fries. But wait, there's more. It's the super sharp Gonzo knife. An ordinary knife wouldn't cut this, but with the Gonzo, it's a snap. Now, how much would you pay?
You could pay with your life.
What's up, guys? It's Wizell from Bananalaser, and a lot of times we do joke promos on this show, but this one is no joke. That is Crystal Lake Industries. If you're like me, you can't get enough Friday 13th, and you might want to possess a Jason Voorhees style hockey mask. This guy will make whatever version hockey mask you want. He is brilliant. I recently bought a version of the Part 4 mask. It's nice and bloody. It looks fucking great. You can wear it if you want. It's perfect for Halloween. I got mine on the wall. It looks fucking cool as shit. I'm looking at his webpage right now, crystalllakeindustries.com. He has made almost every style of Jason mask you can think of. And not only that, he's willing to modify the masks in almost any style of fashion that you want. You want more blood, you want bullet holes, stuff like that. He's done it all. He's made the Jason X mask. He's made the Uber Jason mask. He's got Part 3, Part 4, Part 5, a fucking Roy mask. Yeah, get you one of them. So check it out, guys. Crystal Lake Industries. You can find them on Facebook. You can find them at crystalllakeindustries.com. And on with the show.
Friday the 13th, Part 3. Let's get to it.
The following film contains graphic violence and material that may not be suitable for younger viewers. Parental discretion is advised.
All right, fuckers, we are back. Dave Z and Wazell, and this time we got our fucking 3D glasses on because we're talking about Friday the 13th 3D.
Oh, yeah, this is going to be real exciting today. Wait till you see what I got coming up. Take a look. That's right. Friday the 13th, Part 3. Oh, all kinds of scary things going on in this one, boy. Oh, yeah, there's... Oh, look at this. Motorcycle gangs and... Oh, people knitting. Dead car batteries. Oh, shit. Whoa, whoa. Every kind of thing you could imagine. Yeah, it's going to be real scary.
Now, okay, I might be the only one, but I love that fucking song.
You're not the only one.
I mean, it's different than what they did in the first two movies, clearly, but it's kind of corny, but it has this groove, and it's still, still the theme running through it is still kind of similar to like what they what they would do. You know, it's got inklings of what they would do in an introduction to a Friday film.
Definitely. I love that fucking song. And
yeah.
Oh, it's fucking great.
Yeah,
really,
I
that's
love
something
it.
I play at a party or something.
Yep,
You know,
exactly.
like a Halloween party specifically.
Mhm.
But, you know, yeah, it's very catchy. And once it begins, that's cast aside. It's just a cool intro. This is 3D. We're going to have fun. It's a fucking, you know, crazy disco fucking music, you know, mix of the songs you've heard before. But once the movie begins, the first reel of the film, that's out the window. And they go back to the fucking Manfredini score again.
Yeah, they don't.
So
it's
why not?
Only for the introduction, and so that's why I kind of like it. Now, this movie, okay, clearly it's a 3D movie. You know, they were going after a gimmick, and I don't fault them for that. This is the third in the series. You know, they were playing off the number 3. I think that worked pretty well. They still didn't know what this whole franchise was going to be. You know what I mean? So they had a character, they had themes and stuff like that. They were still trying stuff out. So for them to do a 3D movie, even though you can't really watch it in 3D these days, you know, you can, but it really hurts your fucking eyes.
So I've heard. I never tried. Everyone told me that. Every person told me that. So I never tried.
God, it is headache inducing and not worth it at all because we're so used to, you know, I don't know what it was like back then. I never saw it in 3D. I saw this on TV for the first time, and you know, if you watch 3D now, they can do some spectacular shit, and it doesn't necessarily hurt your head, you know, and your vision or anything. This is with the red and blue glasses. And it's most of the time it's all out of focus, and the 3D barely works, you know, and stuff like that. So,
right,
I don't fault them for doing that at all. Is it a little, you know, annoying or, you know, cumbersome whenever they're doing the poking at the camera kind of stuff? Sure, but I look past that. You know, people, I always like to compare this to the classic House of Wax. You know, that was a 3D movie that I don't know if people were, and people still, you know, hold that in high esteem as a classic movie, even though it had the most corny 3D shit in it. I mean, the opening scene has got a guy with a paddle ball going right at the camera.
Oh, right, yeah.
Corny as shit. You know, but people still love that movie. It's got Vincent Price. It's got a great story and everything.
It's a good movie.
But for some reason, people can't not get past the 3D gimmicks in this movie. To me, like I said, it doesn't really bother me.
No, me neither. I kind of like it in a way. It's representative of the times. It makes it nostalgic because you know what they were doing. Mm-hmm. You see the beginning, and at the time, that was all the fucking rage with Part 3. They had Amityville 3D, Jaws 3D, and Friday the 13th 3D. Mm-hmm. They all came out in the same fucking year, same time period, and, you know, that's what was going on. So it's, you know, people like us that are into the 80s, I mean, shit, it doesn't bother me a bit. It's not that much of a... It doesn't turn me off to the movie. The only thing I don't like is when the guy's eye popping out and you can see the spring and a little bit of those flawed parts and that snake when it jumps out. But aside from that, I don't mind the yo-yo coming up and the guy holding the eye and, you know, all the other obvious things because, you know, it's nostalgic for me. Mm-hmm. It's just part of the movie, and this whole movie, it takes a life of its own for me, and I'll get into that later because this was my birth into the fucking horror genre and Friday the 13th.
Oh, really? Huh.
And it's a great story. It's a story I love to tell because it's fucking, it means a lot to me. It started this whole fucking love affair with me in this genre.
Well, don't hold back. Get into it.
Well, okay. Here's the deal. My parents were out one night for the evening, or maybe I think they were staying because it was pretty late. So I think they went somewhere for the evening. And my older brother and his girlfriend were at the house. And Friday the 13th Part 3, now at this time I know nothing about horror. and it's in 1984 or sometime, and it's on HBO. Now, back in the day, I don't know if they still do it, but they used to show a movie like in prime time at like 8 or 10, and then they would show it again at like 3 in the morning or some obscene hour of the night. And now I wasn't paying any attention. I remember they had it on at some point, and I might have heard them saying something. And I was just being a kid. I was just playing with my wrestling figures, which I did on I spent a lot of my time doing at that age, fucking at that time of day, And it's the evening time, and they're watching it. And now, I was always scared shitless as a kid. I didn't like to fucking go upstairs and sleep by myself. And I knew that they were there. I was gonna try to fandangle a way for me to stay downstairs in the living room and sleep down there. And sure enough, I did. And I fell asleep. And I woke up at some strange hour, 2:30 in the morning, 3, whatever the fuck. And what I turned, and because they had HBO playing earlier, it was still on, and they had fallen asleep on the couch. Mm-hmm. And so they were out, both of them. And I'm up, and it's dark, and the lights are off, and the TV's playing. And I catch this movie, and all I see pretty much is the last 20 minutes of the movie. So I wake up, and I'm watching this, and it's like the beginning of the chase scene with Chris.
Oh, man,
Jason.
That's great.
Right? So this is what I'm seeing, and, I'm a little scared of it, of course. I'm watching, I'm like, what the fuck, this is crazy. And then, then she hangs him, and then he lifts up his mask, and the hanging doesn't kill him, because, I'm a kid, I haven't seen this shit before. I think when she hangs him, okay, the movie's over, she fucking killed the bad guy, whatever. Mm-hmm. Then that happens, then he shows his face, and he's fucking deformed, and holy fuck, I mean, it's scary, and at the same time compelling. I'm like, oh my god, what am I watching? And then what happens after, and the axe to the head, and then go a step further with the fight. Then you think it's over again, and the dream sequence, and the fucking this thing jumping out of the water and pulling her under. Holy fuck! I mean, to me, it was just full of fucking. It was heart pounding. It was fucking out of control, and it was scary. I remember I wasn't able to get back to bed for quite a while after it, and I didn't tell anybody. I would have been embarrassed to tell my older brother. Oh well, fucking. That movie scared me because, he was at that age. He was a teen. He was 7 years older than me. So I'm trying to be cool. I'm not going to say, I'm scared of this movie. Right. I'm not trying to, act like that. So I'm watching it, and, it took me a while to get to sleep, and I was scared. I was like, what the fuck? But it blew me away. I'll always hold this film in high regard for that final chase scene, and I still think it holds up. I still think it's a great chase scene. And, I love that about the movie. Then eventually I got back to bed. The next day I wake up, I think it's a Saturday or a Sunday, and I find myself thinking about the movie, and I was like, that was scary, but that was really cool. What is this shit? Then I learn, well, it's a Friday. I looked up in the TV guide. I see Friday the 13th, Part 3. That's what I watched last night. Okay, that means there's 2 other ones. Well, I shortly after that, I had my parents get me a card at the local video place, and I asked them, can I run a few horror movies? They said, fine. I got the approval, and it began. I rented Part 1, I rented Part 2, and then started renting the shit out of fucking every slasher and every horror movie that was released in the 80s. So,
yeah,
this movie,
that final chase scene is no joke. I mean, say what you will about the first part of the movie, the final part is very incredible because at this point, they changed Jason into a big hulk of a guy, and so he's extremely menacing in that way. Then they up his insanity level. Like you said, at that one point where he just lifts up the mask just to show her how he's deformed, it's like, what the fuck? And his look is great. He looks like fucking Sloth off of the Goonies, right. Except a scarier version, not like a kid-friendly version. And but just the fact that he would do that, it's like Freddy cutting off his 2 fingers in Nightmare on Elm Street just to be like, hey, isn't this fucked up? And aren't I freaking you out? That is frightening to me. It is. And also, the shot of him when she plummets the axe into his fucking into his face, and he's reaching out, grabbing, is one of the best fucking shots I've ever seen in any of these movies. It looks so fucking good.
Yeah.
And another one is the next day, when she's in the boat, she's trying to get away, and she sees his bloody face in the window, and he just starts running out the door. That is one of the scariest things I've ever seen Jason do.
Yes, sir.
And even to this day, it's scary. He is never really that scary. In this movie, he's got actual scary bits, and that's one of them. Very scary. And if for nothing else, the movie succeeds in that last chase. Definitely.
Yeah. And that's always special to me, and I forgot to mention that part. Just imagine, it was one thing after another. First there's the hanging, and you think, he's dead, because you're not used to seeing movies like that. The guy's dead. Then he shows his face. That's scary as fuck. He survived the hanging. That's fucking scary. Then the thing with the axe in the head. Okay, well, now you know he's dead. I mean, it took him a while. They finally got him down. Then she wakes up, and that fucking bloody face in the window running. It was one thing after another, and then and then the thing at the boat. And this is me taking it in the first time, and I'm like, holy fuck. But it spoke volumes to me. The next day I was like, wow, I'm attracted to this shit, whatever it is. And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing this moment. That's why I'm into this shit. I credit this movie, this was my birth into the genre. So, but yeah, I mean, I guess I got lucky, because it was just one thing after another, and it was scary, And looking back, I thought what you said about Freddy cutting off his fingers and it being scary, but now knowing what you know about the plot, he was doing that to show him that it was the fucking guy she had escaped him once before.
Yes, and
you didn't know that the first time. Well, I didn't, obviously.
Yeah,
but,
Well, it took me multiple viewings to piece that together, and so to be like, "Hey, it's me. Remember me?" Yeah, I didn't really get that at first, but yeah, and it's like he had some kind of weird attraction to her, and it's like he wasn't really necessarily going to kill her. He just wanted her, and maybe he didn't really understand about sex. Who knows what's going through his mind, but yeah, very creepy. Let's back it up and talk about the beginning. Now, like I said, they changed Jason's look extremely in this movie. Now, do you think... Now, how did you like that? I liked it. I mean, to me, Part 2 is what it is, and even though this is a direct continuation, takes place the next day, or this is in its own kind of world type of thing. And to me, if you took the Part 2 Jason and put him in Part 3, it wouldn't work. You needed this formidable guy, to take on the biker crew and everybody that he does.
That's true. You're right. It wouldn't have worked if he had the same look to do that. You're right, to take on the biker crew and do what he did. Sackhead Jason and that size of Jason, it wouldn't have worked. You're right. So I guess that's one reason for it. And I can say I don't mind it because, like I said, it was the first one I saw. So I'm used to seeing this big guy. Now, the continuation from 2 to 3, logically, I can't say that I enjoy that they did that with the character because I would be lying. I like what he became. He became the Jason we all, come to know and love. So that's a positive. But, that was kind of a shitty thing to do. But is it that much different than what happened between Part 1 and Part 2 with the Jason character?
No. Yeah, absolutely not. Yeah, exactly. Like I said, they hadn't really figured this out yet. They were still trying to figure it out. And for us to still be such fans of the series, even though they retcon so much stuff from movie to movie, is amazing. And that's just a testament to how good the movies are, because if the movies weren't good, then we would look at these flaws, or these changes as major flaws and be like, well, the movie sucks because of this. But because the movie is actually good on top of that, we're willing to overlook that shit, Yeah. And one of the things that we have to overlook is the fact that, and we've talked about this in the past, is the fact that Jason gets a fucking machete to his shoulder and at the end of part 2. And to me, it looks maybe not like a death blow, but like something that's going to take weeks and months of recovery in the hospital. Right. And for him to just, pull it out and then crawl away and then the very same night go and kill 2 shop owners is a little nutty. But I mean, if they didn't do that, look, do you want, I mean, how else would they do it? Would he go to the hospital? No, he would go to jail. Then he would have to break out of jail. They're not going to write a story around that realistically. So let's just go with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What else could they do? I mean, maybe they could have had it take place, a year later or months later. And you just, they would have been a little more plausible that he healed on his own. Which isn't very plausible.
He just rubbed leaves and herbs on the wound and like deer blood and shit and just eventually got better. Yeah.
Yeah, right. It wouldn't have been more plausible, but I guess it would be, a little more accepted, that it was instead of being the very next day. But it's kind of cool that it was the next day.
No, I love it's just like Halloween 1 and 2, dude. Anytime a movie does that, picks up right then, it's great. And they do this when they go from 3 to 4 as well. And I just love that kind of continuity. Even though they changed some stuff, obviously. Jason grew a foot. He lost a ton of hair. He got a whole new outfit somehow.
Right.
He's like, overalls, these are way out of style. I need like a green jacket. And some slacks, what the fuck?
Yeah, people are seeing me now. I gotta fucking, out there. I gotta improve my look.
Yeah, I gotta be seen, but, we're forgiving of all that because the movie is so enjoyable on its own.
Yeah, it's fun. And it's obviously the producers or the studio or someone, they must have said, I don't know what had come out prior to that. Maybe something happened. They saw something in some other movie or whatever, but they must have said, hey, we want to change the look of this cat. We want to fucking have him bigger and whatever. There must have been pressure from someone to do it. I don't think the director just came on and said, well, I'm going to change the look. Maybe he did. I mean, I don't know.
Who knows? I mean, it is the same director as we were talking about earlier.
Oh, but you're right, yeah. So that's kind of odd. Somebody there must have been hands involved in this that said, I'm sure we want to change his look. Maybe we'll learn more about it in the documentary, I hope.
Yep. Can't wait.
But, yeah, right. But I'll tell you, this is a fun movie because this is a great movie to catch a buzz to with friends and watch because it's good in 2 different ways. There's some silly shit in there, but not comedy. I don't want to call it comedy. It's just some silly shit, I guess is the way I'm going to put it. And at the same time, there's some cool horror elements as well. And it works in that respect. If I'm going to have people over and have a few drinks, this is probably the one I would put in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I would lean more towards Freddy versus Jason or something like that. But no, I totally get that because there's some goofy shit in here. Like one, the introduction to the biker gang and having them in there has not only people for Jason to knock off, but for it's like foes for the protagonists and stuff. But their first scene, they're supposed to be these badass. 2 guys and a gal, and they're all tough and shit, and they're breaking windows and all this stuff. But then they go to the barn to fucking, to burn their barn down or whatever the fuck they're doing. And the chick comes swinging out on that goddamn rope, and she's like, wee! Yeah. Wee!
I never thought about that.
I fucking die every time, man, because it's like, oh, we're fucking tough and we're badass, but ooh, there's a rope swing. Yeah.
Maybe she grew up in a barn, or maybe maybe she was born in a barn. It took her back to her childhood.
God, that part is so fucking hilarious. I love it. It's
that
just
is funny.
Yeah, it seems so out of character. And he's like, "Get the hell down from there!" But then, they redeem themselves by she's on the rope swing, and then he looks away and he looks
cool.
up, and then she's not there, but the rope is still swinging. So it's effective in that way, but I always get a chuckle out of her jubilee, you know, and the swinging. Yeah.
That is funny. No
Yeah.
shit. Yeah. I didn't think about that when I was thinking about the silly shit, but yeah, that is... That's fuck. I can't wait to watch this again now. I have a whole new fucking admiration for that part. That's great. But I always thought it was cool how it was going back and forth, and then it, you know, then she's gone.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
yeah,
Fox. Oh, it's fucking good shit.
Yeah, that's
how about
right,
when they
that's
introduce them in the fucking in the grocery store and the interaction they have? I think that's hysterical, and I love what she fucking says to to Vera. You know, when she's like, "You mean, may I please have the wallet back, ma'am?"
Yeah.
That's nice. That's real good, she tells her. I fucking love it.
Yeah.
That whole scene is funny, even though I am in the minority where I'm going to fucking talk a little shit about Shelley because I think he's fucking annoying and everyone seems to love him. But in real life, if you're around someone like that, but he's trying way too fucking hard, that's just annoying.
The only reason I like him, and I do find him incredibly annoying.
Yeah.
I think I like him is because he is supposed to represent us, the horror fans, because he's clearly a kind of a geek or nerd in his own way. He loves all these like special effects and gadgets and horror shit. But he also likes to do it in a practical joke way that's not really that funny. And it just, you know, people dislike him for that. And so it's a mixed bag. You know, I like him because he's supposed to represent us, but he fails because I am definitely not fucking like that. I mean,
I hope not.
Call me what you will, but I think I can, you know, whatever. I think I can actually communicate with people, and I don't have to pull pranks and stuff like that, you know.
Right, man. And I don't even mind. Right. I don't mind the fact that I like the fact that, you know, he did the fucking trick and it looked like real blood and whatnot. That's kind of cool that he's into horror and shit like that. But he's just too out there with it. What's in that box? My whole life. Stick around, you'll see. It's just fucking...
Yeah, like,
it's
get
just
the
lame.
fuck out of here. Yeah.
Yeah,
like,
it's an immediate turnoff.
Yeah.
When someone's going to say that, because you know he's going to try way too hard to impress everybody. And, you know, the way he presents himself to women is just fucking... It's way too annoying. Because at the same time, he's going there, oh, sorry, you know, is this my date? Yeah, he's like, yeah, sorry. And he's all down on himself. But at the same time, no wonder... You act 1 minute that you're sheepish, that you fucking, you know, that you're not good looking or that you're a dork or something, but then at the same time, you're trying way too hard to fucking impress the same person. It's like, it doesn't make sense. It's one or the other, you know? If you're going to be a little fucking down about yourself, and I could see you being quiet or something, but then he goes the opposite and fucking, the way he tries to pursue Vera, and, you know, it's just, he just tried too hard. The character just annoyed me. And I feel bad that we didn't get to see him get whacked, because this is when you're watching this movie, you're like, this motherfucker's going to die a terrible death.
No,
we're kind of robbed of that.
it.
Yeah,
definitely robbed of that. And also, somehow he was making headway with this fucking chick, and she was good looking, you know.
Vera?
She was starting to come around. She's like, you know, you're not that bad of a guy, but you pull these fucking things, you know. And she's like, every time she starts to come around to him and like him, he fucks it up, you know, and so he's his own worst enemy, definitely. And
true, yeah.
And
she tells him like it is. It's true that she puts it. She says it right. You know, you pull these stunts and fucking, you know, and it's true. Oh, and fucking pretty good. She's fucking by far the hottest chick in this movie. That's fucking banana alert right there.
Really? See, I go back and forth between, because I do think she's very hot. I go back and forth between her and then the gal that is, the gal that's with the guy who does the handstand.
Really, Debbie?
The pregnant chick? Yeah, I think she's really hot too. I think
she doesn't do it for him. I think Chris is even prettier than Debbie, and I'm not a huge Chris fan.
Really? See, I mean, even Chris is good looking.
She's cute.
Yeah, there's definitely good looking chicks in this, but yeah, I think you're right. I'm looking at some pictures now. Definitely Vera. Yeah,
she's fucking hot in this movie.
She's the banana to peel. Yeah, you're right.
No doubt.
And for her to even take an inkling, into Shelley is funny, and because she's coming around to him in the movie,
right? And he even has a rubber. What is this? Your rubber?
But we're talking about characters. Let's talk about two others that I don't know how you feel about them, but they're essentially the fucking Cheech and Chong of not only this movie but the entire Friday series. I mean, there's really no other characters that come along that's like these again, and I don't know their names, but they're the fucking
Chuck and Chili.
Now,
instead of Cheech and Chong, they're Chuck and Chili.
Oh
right?
My God! Yeah, you're right. Jesus Christ! Like blatant ripoff.
Chuck and Chili. Yep.
And don't get me wrong, I've smoked a lot of weed back in my time, but for these guys, just the amount that they're going, I'm surprised they're awake. The entire give me a fucking. You would be passed out the whole time. I mean, they're open, they think the van is on fire. They think it's on fire, but they're just smoking weed. Like, oh my God, you got to be just burning piles or fucking bags of weed. I don't know, in order to get that kind of effect.
You could never. That was way too overdone.
Yeah.
But funny. That's one of those silly moments in the film.
Yeah.
And they're there sitting back there fucking smoking with big fucking shitting grins on their faces. They open those fucking doors. They think there's a fire. That's fucking good stuff. That's funny. I like it,
I think it is funny, but I think over the length of the movie, it kind of wears on me. And because I think they're one note kind of characters, obviously.
Oh, yeah. They are.
And it's like, their whole shtick past that one joke of the van really doesn't play to me. And yeah, they kind of they kind of wear out their welcome, is what I'm trying to say by the end of it. And I'm happy to see them get killed.
Well, I kind of like them. You
Yeah.
know, I like hippies, man, and you don't see that much of them. It's not overkill. You see them in the thing in the beginning. They had the joke, and boy, they ate the fuking weed. If anything was going to put them to sleep,
Yeah.
they fucking ate the weed too, man. They should have been passed the fuck out.
They have probably a fucking a pound of weed, and a cop is pulling them up, and they're thinking between 5 people that they're going to eat their way through this fucking pound of fucking weed.
Yeah, that's great.
Eat it! Eat it!
Everybody.
That fucking dude, he's got fucking stems in his teeth, and that dude's just eat it, eat it. Oh my God, hilarious!
I like, it's funny, but it's not too silly. I mean, I don't, you know what I'm saying? It's not comical the way Part 6 is. It's
no, absolutely not. Yeah, it's done right. I mean. Yeah, so...
And how about later? I think it's cool because it kind of shows like the way a pothead would think. He's afraid to go into the fucking basement, and he tells her, and he's like, "You want me to go down there in the dark by myself?" He's saying that because he's fucking high and he's bugging out, I can sympathize with that. I've been there,
Yeah, no shit.
And she's like, "Be a man." But you don't see much of him. And I like when the popcorn's popping, he's trying to catch it with his fucking mouth and it's coming out of the fucking pan. It's just funny.
My God! Yeah, it's silly.
Yeah, it's
definitely.
silly, but I don't think they're overkill because I don't think they have very much screen time. That's all.
Yeah, they definitely don't. It just seems weird that they just seem disconnected from the rest of the group. You know what I mean? It's like these are our pothead tag-alongs. They just come everywhere that we go. And they're just supplying weed, and they just sit back there and get high, and that's it.
Yeah. It's like maybe Chuck is fucking, Debbie's brother or something, Like it's just one of those things. Oh, yeah, we're going to go up to so-and-so. Well, we don't have fucking jobs. We're just going to smoke weed. We'll go for the ride. Let's go have some fun. Let's go, Chili, Fucking something like that they were just kind of thrown into the mix. But,
Yeah, exactly.
You've seen that many times in horror movies where you see people that are out of place. Like, why are these people hanging together? And it's commonplace for fucking these types of movies.
Yep, that's true. And, so what else do you want to talk about? I mean, this one, they really do something different. I mean, they do lots of things different, but they do one thing different in that one of these characters, and we talked about it, has met Jason before, and
that's interesting.
She tells it to, I forget her boyfriend's name, but he's got a real
Rick.
Rick. Yeah,
Fucking douchebag.
Oh God, what a fuck!
Right?
I mean, just how he's dressed and everything. Just
Everything-
fuck that dude.
And everything that comes out of his mouth.
Yeah.
He's such a fucking a fucking douchebag. That's all I've ever called him.
Yeah, pretty much. But
Yeah.
she recalls to him this whole story, and I really like this scene because you believe her. You know, she's just like, she's been afraid to come back here because that time she was attacked.
Right.
And, you know, she just says that she was attacked, but some people have alluded that she was maybe raped by Jason. I don't know
was
if I
gonna
get
ask you.
that.
I used to think that. I used to think it.
I don't think that at all. I just think that she was another girl in the woods. She got too close to where he lived or whatever, and that's when, he attacked her with intent to kill her. But that was it. I don't think he was trying to rape her or anything. I mean, they show it in flashback, but it's also over the top of her telling the story, so it's kind of a muddled image, you know. And so I don't think that rape was ever involved.
You know why I thought it was? I don't now, but I used to think it was because the way she says about her parents. My parents never mentioned it before. That's what she said that since it happened. And I thought that they didn't mention it because it was a taboo thing, that she was raped. Let's never discuss it. You know what I mean? That's the only reason I ever thought that. She was like, came home and my father, she tells the whole story, and then her parents find her and she comes in and whatever. And her parents had never mentioned it. But now, so for years I did think that it was a rape, and I was surprised that a lot of other people thought it too. So I'm like, okay, so it's not just me. That's kind of the vibe I got from it too. But nowadays I don't think that anymore. I think it's since I've become a father and I think things differently. I think that they just wouldn't talk about it anyway. Why remind her of the fucking of the torment, even if, just to be pursued by that or a killer or whatever, that's enough. If that was my daughter, I wouldn't want to bring it up. It's any violent act done upon her, so I just think, I agree with you. I don't think it was a rape, but I just think that the parents don't want to discuss it, and I don't blame them,
No, absolutely not. I mean, she was attacked by a stranger, like, fuck,
right.
Dude.
You don't bring that shit up unless they come to you with it. I mean, let them deal with it, and you hope for the best, and you feel for them. But that's a touchy thing. You're not just going to bring up a traumatic incident and fucking remind her of it. You just, if she wants to talk to you about it, then I suppose you have to hope that she comes to you. Or, if you're a good parent, you always tell your child, you can always tell me anything. And, that's basically it. So, no, I don't think she was raped. But I was going to ask you that. I was going to ask you if you thought that. But
no, I never thought that until recent years when, when I've met people who have said that. I was like, well, I've never thought that even watching it at a younger age, So.
Yeah, but I could see why they thought it, because I thought it too. So.
Yeah, now let's talk about some of the kills in this movie. We hinted at a couple of them, but there's some pretty unique ones. Clearly, they were going off of the 3D aspect in some of them, such as the harpoon to the eye on the dock.
Yeah.
Now
that was good. That's his first kill with the mask, and it's pretty cool.
I like that scene.
I do too.
Because he just. I don't know. I've heard people try to sway me in the other direction on it.
And let me ask you why. Because it's so obvious that that's not Shelley. Because fucking Jason's so much bigger than Shelley.
No,
is that the reason?
It's his walk back. He walks out just with It's his whole nonchalant, I don't care, walk. Comes out, just shoots her, and then just drops the thing, and then just strolls away like up, like, oh, I'm gonna go to the grocery store now. But I love that. I love it because it's so badass. It's like he's got a swagger about him. It's just like, I killed that bitch. I'm out here, on to the next one.
He's happy.
I
got
that.
a mask.
Yeah.
I got a mask again. He's happy.
Yeah.
He's feeling good about himself. Motherfucker, check out my new mask. And not only did I change my clothes, check this shit out, man. I'm badass now.
And And I, don't like the fact that you don't really see him acquire. Well, I like it and I don't. I don't like that you don't see Shelley's demise really, but I do like that they don't play up the mask thing, and that's because they didn't realize how iconic it was going to eventually become, Right. But I like that. It was something they had a real challenge with in the remake because they knew it was an iconic thing, but they had to introduce it. How do we do that nonchalantly, but still be iconic? It's a tightrope, man. It's a tough tightrope, and I'm glad it's done the way it is in this movie, and because it's not, at the time it's not that big of a deal. It's just like I got a mask, I can be seen. I don't have to hide behind shit now in the barn, essentially, which is why he was just hiding in the barn the whole time. Is because he's essentially a frightened boy. He doesn't want to show his face to. Right. To all these people because he's scared because he knows he's deformed.
Right.
And it wasn't until he got the mask and that's when he first stepped out. You're right. And
yeah.
And so, yeah, I just really like that. Even though I don't praise the movie just because of the mask or just because of the 3D or anything like that. I like the movie overall.
Right. Same here.
It has nothing to do with it's where he got the mask. That's why I love it. No, it's just an added bonus. I mean, at the time that I watched this movie for the first time, I had no idea that the hockey mask was going to be iconic. I just thought it was cool for this movie. I had zero idea that it was going to go on to be on every single poster and to be more well known than for hockey. You know what I mean? It's more well known for fucking Jason Voorhees and Friday the 13th than it is for fucking a goalie, a classic goalie. So it's super iconic, but at the time of watching Friday 3 as a kid, I had no fucking idea. So I definitely don't put this movie on a pedestal because of that.
No, it has nothing to do with that. And, especially with, us and many others being a bigger fan of the sack, why would we fucking praise it because of the mask? It wouldn't make sense. I wish we could have seen Shelley got killed because, like I said, he annoyed me. But in a way, I guess it wouldn't have worked as well because if they would have showed him get killed, then what are they just going to show him pick up the mask? It might not have worked so well. So it was kind of cool that he just strolled out with it on. Now, we know that it's him, obviously.
Yeah.
I can see why they're going to make it so Vera doesn't because it works for the gag. I understand she thinks it's him and it's more effective that way. So that's cool.
Maybe because she was so far away and the light was kind of blinding. I don't know.
Right, but that's okay. It makes for an effective kill. It adds to that kill. If he just would have walked out and she would have maybe turned real quick and run, and he happened to fucking get her dead eye in the back of the head or something, maybe that could have been cool too. But it was kind of cool that she's thought it was him. What are you doing? And then boof, and she falls back, and it's cool. So I guess that's the only reason that I'm okay with not seeing Shelley get killed. I wanted to see him get killed. Him and fucking Rick more than anybody.
Oh yeah, and Rick, his fucking kill is. I mean, what you touched upon earlier, it's a little goofy because you see the string or whatever.
It's too bad. It's that coil, yeah.
But it's pretty cool because it's the ambition it has. It's like, okay, now Jason, is this fucking huge, massive a guy who can crush someone's head with his hands. Before, he could never do that. But now he's more of a monster. He's less of a human. He's more of a monster. And I think that goes hand in hand with the whole making him bald thing.
Yeah.
In that he needs to be more grotesque even than he was before in the previous movies.
True. Conceptually, it's a great idea. Crushing somebody's head. And it's great because at that time, you hadn't really seen anybody get whacked in that manner. And really, I don't know, I can't think of any horror movies where the killer is that strong until this one came out.
Right,
where he kills somebody with his bare hands. And, if it wasn't 3D, so be it. Maybe they could have had the eyes pop out a little bit or blood come out and then he's fucking, or have the face crush in like they did and then he drops. That would have been cool. It's unfortunate that you see that coil come out in the back of the eye for the 3D effect. But all in all, a good concept for a kill and to showcase his strength.
Yeah, and speaking of eyeballs, the fucking Ralph knockoff at the beginning of the flick, when he's just laying. This is another goof. He's sleeping in the street, and they're like, "Is he dead?
Yeah.
Is he dead?" And he fucking gets up. He starts fucking babbling on, and they're like, "What the hell is that?" It's an eyeball. Like he's holding this fucking eyeball up to the screen. I love that whole interaction. It's so goofy. Like
it is, right?
You know, it's clearly a Crazy Ralph knockoff, which I find humorous within itself. You know,
sure.
They never tried to do that style of character after this, and thank goodness.
Yeah, they did. Part 8, fucking abortion.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
100%. Oh, 100%.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah. But it was still cool.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah. But can you imagine if they tried to do that in every single movie? Well, where's the old guy who's going to tell us that we're all going to die soon?
Yeah, like it's fucking Scooby-Doo or something.
And that this is his woods. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, fuck that shit.
Oh, God.
It's funny, though. I have warned thee. Yeah. I have warned thee. And he holds it up in the... Do you think that was Jason's eye?
No, that never occurred to me. He's got both of his eyes, doesn't he?
Jason?
Yeah.
How the fuck does he have both eyes?
What are you
does
talking
he really?
about? Yeah, one's just like off to the side. He's got both eyes. You're crazy.
Yeah, you're right. It's not out. You're right.
He's not missing an eye.
I'm fucked up. When I was a kid, I used to think it was Jason's eye. That's why.
Okay.
My answer was going to be no, regardless. But I just, for 1 second, I forgot that he did have both eyes, but the other one's just like swollen shut or whatever. It's just not there.
Yeah. Now those eyes will change continuity throughout the series. They'll move, and one will be whatever. But that's just another one of those things. It's funny how we open this conversation with your story. And then the ending, and how I felt, and I think you did too, that there was a couple of really terrifying moments with Jason in this movie. But for almost the rest of the movie, we're joking about it. We're laughing way more about this movie than we did the previous two movies. Definitely.
Oh, yeah. You're right. The atmosphere was different. We didn't touch upon that. It's not Crystal Lake anymore, and it's not the same atmosphere. Granted, they used the same music, and it held on to some of that, which, I still like the movie because of it, but definitely different.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely different. And, a lot of people call this Friday the 13th The Barn or something like that. I've heard people call it that.
The Barn.
Boy. Yeah, because he hides out in the barn for the first half of the movie, but... that never really bothered me. I kind of like the whole barn aspect. I grew up on a farm for a few years of my life, and so I've hung around haystacks and climbed those kind of ladders and dodged pitchforks and stuff like that. So,
That's a good kill, by the way. The fucking pitchfork to Fox.
Yeah, that's another one of those things where it's like the throat slash. It's like you can just feel that for some reason. Happening to your throat. I don't know what it is. It's just I don't know. Maybe it's like a basic fear that I have about my throat. I have no idea, but yeah, that definitely works.
Yeah, and it's cool though. I could see that you spending time on the barn and whatnot, being there. How you could. How this would speak to you a little bit,
Yeah, so I always like that part of it.
Yeah.
Now, what is your favorite? What's your banana split of this flick? Because we talked a little bit about it, but we haven't said specifically what our favorites are.
Yeah, well, the banana split is it is just that. It is a split. It's when fucking when Andy is fucking split in two by fucking Jason,
Dude,
when he's doing the handstand thing. It's
mine
badass.
too. That is a fucking badass moment in this because when his head flips up and that shot of Jason with his hands over his fucking head holding that. What would you do? You would. Oh my god!
I try to kick him. I guess if I'm doing a handstand, a donkey fucking kick, or something. Mule kick and run.
You donkey punch him. Yeah. It's just he's in like the most vulnerable position and has the most vulnerable spot of his body kind of wide open, you know, in the crotch and shit. Yeah, that's definitely my banana split too. I fucking I love that. It's so much fun. Just anytime a movie splits someone in half, kudos to them, man. Great stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's good shit. Yep.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, now here's something else I want to ask you is, have you ever had sex in a hammock?
No.
Seems impossible,
movie,
right?
I'd like to try just to see.
Oh God, no, you wouldn't. I haven't done that, but I have tried. I would say to have sex in a waterbed, and that's probably about as successful, I would think, as the whole hammock thing.
Well, I don't know. Maybe the hammock, if you're on the bottom and she's doing all the work, she can hold on to the sides, and you know, if she really knows how to do shit, she can put it on you, man.
If she's an acrobat or an aerialist, you know, fucking, you know, spinning on the ropes, you know, hanging out off the ceiling or something. But
whoever's on top is the one that's going to control the flow of the situation. And if you're a guy, honestly, you can still have sex on the hammock if your legs are long enough and have your feet on the ground.
Yeah, well, if you're a guy, you can have sex, you know, anywhere.
Well, you know, yeah, you're going to try to.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, we'll be fine right here. This is a closet. Yeah, we're fine. Let's do this. We'll get this done. There's a hanger in my ass. No, that's fine. It's all part of the atmosphere. Let's do this.
But it might work. I'm curious solely because of this movie, in the sex on the hammock. I've always, you know what? I haven't really been around too many hammocks.
Me neither. But someone please let us know who has had sex on a hammock.
Yes.
And was it successful? And please tell me you have it on video and send it to us at bananalaser@gmail.com. Please.
There you go.
Let us know.
Right on.
Yeah, let's talk about another thing that you touched upon at the beginning was that they do the shock ending again. And this one I'm kind of polarized on because I still love it, you know, because I like this movie, but at the same time it makes less sense than any of the other jump scares that they've done because it's his mother coming out of the water. It looks fucking scary as shit. Her look is crazy.
Yeah.
She's got the sweater on. Her fucking face is like nowhere, you know.
She's got fucking worms hanging off her fucking skin.
Yeah. Looks great, but it's like, wait a minute. Wasn't her head cut off in the first movie? Hang on a second. And then she just pulls Chris under, and then that's the end, right? There's not another...
well, no. There's the famous after sequence.
There is?
The others, and... Yeah, remember, and they're pulling her away, and they put her in the stretcher, and they put her in the fucking...
Oh, yeah, they do have that in this movie.
Yeah, like the same thing they do in part 2.
Okay, but anyways, so it's definitely a dream. Yeah, there's no question about it this time, you know.
True.
She couldn't have been, even if she was alive somehow, a zombie mother. What does she do, super glue or staple her head back on or something like that?
Right.
You know, so that element clearly makes it a dream.
It makes no sense that it was a dream, and that's the problem, because she has no fucking idea who Jason Voorhees
Exactly.
is. Therefore, how does she even think about Jason Voorhees' mother?
Exactly. To even get it down to the sweater. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. She has no idea who these people are, who this guy chasing her is, except she had the encounter with them. So now if she had backstory on him, then it would make sense. If it was fucking Ginny, and she had come back for part 3, whatever, you know, then that would make sense. Even if it was a dream, because it's the mother. She knew about the mother, or you know, whatever. Maybe not even Ginny, because she did know about her mother, but still, whatever. It would have made a little more sense than this. But I still like it because, once again, going back to the first time I saw it, how fucking much it was just one thing after another, and how much fucking impressed me and scared me at the same time.
Yes, that final chase worked so well, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And that was just kind of like another bullet point on the end of it. You know,
it's formulaic. I can't talk. It's formulaic, or whatever the fuck. whatever the word is. It's the formula that they used in part 1 and part 2. So naturally they had success. We're going to do it once again with part 3. Not as creative and doesn't make, nearly as much sense. Not that the first two made all that much sense to begin with, but still. This is a further cry from that.
But let's say we were writing that part. Let's say the entire movie exists as it is up until that moment. What would you have done? It's like I can't think of any other way to have done that style of scare, because you just wanted to do this, the same thing, keep the formula. Would you have Jason come out? Would you have him come out as a kid again? I mean, would you have Crazy Ralph come out? Maybe that would work. Fuck, who knows,
I hear you.
Yeah.
How about the barn scene that was cut when she got beheaded? That could have been the dream sequence.
What's that?
Oh, you didn't know about that?
No, I don't.
Fuck. Oh,
I haven't seen any deleted footage or anything like that from this
I haven't
movie.
seen it. I've seen a photograph of it, and I've seen like a slow-mo thing on YouTube where they put 3 or 4 shots together, and there's a dream sequence where Jason fucking cuts Chris's head off right in the barn, holds up the fucking head and everything, and it was a dream sequence which was eventually they scrapped it and they did the other thing instead, and maybe we'll see it on Crystal Lake Memories. I don't know, but I'll tell you, they did enough when they had Jason in the window with the bloody face. That was a dream sequence, so they went from one dream sequence to another,
Yeah,
but it was still scary. Remember how the boat hits the thing and the noise it makes and the birds fly off? There's something scary about that because it's early in the morning and she's all alone, and there's just like a creep factor to that. It's just that one part.
There is, but it's not like a bullet point like Jason coming out of the water or going through the window.
God, no.
It's definitely scary, but it's not like a fucking hurrah moment. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's
not.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, like it, love it, whatever. I still like that the fact that it's Mrs. Voorhees coming out. I mean, I don't know what else you would have done, but it doesn't really make sense. But at the same time, there's tons of stuff in these movies that haven't made sense, but they're still fun. They're still enjoyable. It's still well made for the most part. So I still go along with it. Yes,
and this is a fun movie, and that's the bottom line. Is that no? Sadly, it's not part 1 and part 2.
No,
it's a different tone, but it isn't that great a departure from part 1 and 2. It's not, nowhere near fucking what comes later, and it still has good elements on it, and it's fun. Like I said, it's a movie, and we had fun talking about it. So the things that happened, you brought it up before. There's more stuff to laugh at and laugh with, and it's a fun horror movie, but not fun in a way like part 6 was intended to be, or how you feel Freddy vs. Jason is. But it's just, I enjoy the movie.
Yeah. No, I do too. I would, if we're going to rate this, and we are, I'd give this a 4. I still really like this movie. I would say I love this movie, but I can't give it the same number that I would as 1, 2. I can't give it a 5, even though I do love the movie. I'll give it a 4. I'll say I really like it.
Yeah, once again, I'm in complete agreement. 4, no question about it. 4 is a perfect rating for this film.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, even with all its flaws, maybe it's just nostalgia. Who knows? But I don't give a shit. There's a lot of great stuff in this movie. So, yeah, definite 4.
Yep, for sure.
All right, so moving on from the third dimension, let's go into the fourth with Friday the 13th. Not part 4, but the final chapter.
Jason is back. 3 times before,
Sorry to change your mind?
you have felt the terror, known the madness, lived the horror. But this is the one you've been screaming for. Because Friday, April 13th, will be Jason's unlucky day. Friday the 13th, the final chapter, rated R.
Now showing at a theater near you.
Yeah, the final chapter. Too bad it wasn't.
Too bad it wasn't. I don't know, man. Okay, so would you be satisfied 100% if you didn't get any of the other sequels. I know we've talked down upon a lot of the sequels and how they're not really as good, but there's a lot of things, at least for me, that I enjoy about those sequels, and they kind of add to the watching of the previous sequels. And even though I may not recommend those movies or rate them very highly, I'm glad that the series continued and persevered, even though they killed Jason, quote unquote.
No, I hear you on the enjoyment of some of the sequels, and there's been good and there's been bad, and I love the franchise, but I do believe that if the final chapter truly was the final chapter, then this, I mean, in our we're in agreement, but I would have to say that worldwide there would be no disputing what the best franchise of all time is. If the final chapter was the final chapter, that would make these 4 movies that much more iconic. Mm-hmm. People would say, Friday the 13th, they did it, they had the final chapter, they killed them off, and that was the end. It would be looked back upon much more untarnished than it is. Like now it's, Jason, sure, the character's iconic and everything else, and yeah, some of the sequels are fun and I enjoy them, but it wouldn't be perceived as so much of a joke as it is by the general public. If like these just 4 movies came out and 4 was the final chapter and that was the end, people would say, it'd be like looking back on something else, like the way I feel about the Ju-On series. There's 4 of those, and then they had other shit that came after, so that's tarnished too. Yeah. But just in general, it would be held in higher regard by everybody, and it would make my love for the movies, these 4, even stronger, if possible.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, and that makes 100% sense. It's unfortunate that will absolutely never happen in any series of film, because money talks. And,
yes, sir.
And they're out to make money. They'll bleed anything dry, and everything will pretty much always end on a more sour note than what it started out on, and that's unfortunate.
Yeah, I compare it to Halloween 1. Halloween 1, there was a couple things. I do enjoy Halloween 2, but if Halloween 1 would have been a standalone film, and the movie would have ended there, he's gone, the breathing, the fucking credits roll, brilliant, fucking incredible. If there never would have been another Halloween made, that movie, if possible, would be even held in higher regard. I wish there just would have been one Halloween, because I would, if it's possible, like I said, if it's possible to love it even more, I guess I could,
Yeah.
Leave it at that. Same thing with Saw 1. And, there's a couple more like that, but specifically Halloween 1 and Friday the 13th, the final chapter. If that would have been it, then, horror movies, maybe even in general, the way they're perceived now, especially 80s, they may not be perceived as the joke that they are by the general public.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely get that. Yeah, but, they did go on, but that doesn't mean that even though they went on and may have tarnished the character, that doesn't mean that this movie isn't one of the best out of the series.
Of course.
And it is definitely the best of the hockey mask style of Jason. I'll say it right now, I do think Part 2 is a better movie, and I'll watch that more often. But out of this style of Jason, this is clearly the best. This movie seems like it's done by actual filmmakers. I hate to say that, but the look of the movie, the opening of the movie, the use of the camera work and all that stuff, the special effects, Savini's back on, it seems like a real fucking movie at this point, and man, did they succeed. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yes. Technically, what you're saying, 100%. They succeeded in several ways, but that's something else that I wasn't even thinking of. But yeah, technically, it's definitely the finest piece of the franchise.
Yeah, and this movie, like we talked about, picks up right when 3 left off, and I gotta say, people always talk about zombie Jason and how he's not a zombie till part 6, but it's like this dude gets picked up and goes to the morgue. I mean, he gets a fucking axe to the head. Now, don't get me wrong, people have been known to survive these kinds of injuries, but he gets picked up. I mean, they check your pulse right there. Right. He gets picked up and taken to the morgue. This guy is dead. Okay,
right. Yeah, he's dead.
Everybody talks about zombie Jason and how that started in 6, and it's like, I think it started maybe even in part 3.
Right?
Because I think he would have bled out right then. But that's just one of those unexplained things. Really, it's like there's no need to really talk about why he comes back. Maybe it's just his will to find his mother or reconnect or punish people or something like that. It's just never discussed, and really you don't feel like there's a need to, right? It's like you just accept him as who he is. He's now becoming really the star of these movies, with this movie specifically, I think. And so you just want to see him do his thing, no matter how he gets to do it. You know what I mean?
That's for sure.
Yeah.
And the funny thing, they tried to explain it in fucking in Jason Goes to Hell. Hate to say it, but they tried to.
God,
of course,
yeah,
they failed on every level.
Yeah,
but
fuck that.
they tried to explain it. And if you want to say zombie Jason and say that, you could say that from day one. You could say that
exactly. If he drowned, yes, exactly.
Okay? That he's been zombified since fucking he first died.
I like that. I like that idea, and that he actually drowned then, but he the vengeance, it's like the Crow or something. Something brought him back. And to set the wrong things right, what the fuck, and so I like that idea, because that explains why he can get a fucking machete in part 2, an axe in part 3, get hacked to bits in part 4, get buried, and still come back to life, and all that shit. I when I watch these movies, I go with that explanation that he actually drowned, and his mother thought he drowned, but somehow in spirit or even in physicality, he carried on, kind of Victor Crowley style.
Yeah, he did. And what can you do? Sure, it's ridiculous that they check his pulse, and you would assume, and they take him to the hospital. But in the same respect, I'm glad they did it. I love the way he comes out, and it's fucking, it's fantastic. Of course, it's not realistic in the slightest, but
no.
Look at what you're watching. You gotta
exactly.
put it into perspective.
Right. And, there's, I think the guys on the Skeleton Crew talked about this in their retrospective. If you guys haven't checked out their run of shows on Friday the 13th, you must go check that out, because it's some great shit. But, in the opening, when the cops are there and the paramedics are there, the cops are picking up the axe, and they put the axe in the smallest Ziploc baggie available. It's like literally just the blade fits in this bag, and the rest of it's hanging. This is a piece of evidence, and these fucking clowns are just fucking it all up, man. I fucking crack up every time I see that now. They just weren't thinking about it.
Yeah, I never thought about it.
Oh,
it never even resonated with me that was strange. I guess it is. Yeah,
it's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, well, it's just Crystal Lake cops. They're a fucking, they're some bumfuck town. It isn't like New York City police. It's not New York's finest. It's fucking, a couple fucking jabronis that fucking are hanging. They live in Crystal Lake.
The cops in New York are so busy dealing with all the junkies living in the fucking streets and in the alleyways, because there's so many alleyways in New York where these guys live and shit. Yeah,
welcome to New York, You're being chased by a maniac. Yeah, that happens every block. Whatever. The cops got their hands full here.
Yeah, no shit.
But yeah, that is pretty funny. That's overlooked, and the whole thing.
Yeah.
And how he's treated when he's in there. How about the fucking Axel eating the fucking sandwich over him? You know?
Oh yeah, that guy. Okay, now that guy. He's such a sleazeball. He reminds me of the guy from Halloween 2, who's singing the song about the dirt. Yeah,
I need your pie.
The dirty limerick guy. Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
He's like he's got to be a brother to that dude or something because they both work in a hospital. They're both fucking sleazy, and this guy he's eating.
They both get hot chicks.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Right? Yeah.
especially this guy in Friday 4. It's like,
yes.
No way is he scoring this kind of chick. No way.
At all. Right.
But he's eating a sandwich, and he puts it on the body. And I don't know if you picked up on this, but
He moves?
No. But we'll talk about that. This is... It seems like so many people dealing with dead bodies in movies, not just horror movies, are always like eating food. And they're just so comfortable, because they deal with it all the time. It's like, well, it's lunchtime. I'm just going to, eat around this dead body. And they're always putting food on them and fucking just a mess. And I always find that humorous. And this movie, Friday 4, was the first time that I had ever made note of that or noticed it.
That's funny. Never thought about that. You're right. It has happened in several horror movies with fucking people that work there and being around dead bodies and eating. Yeah. And that's weird. Another fucking trend, particularly in 80s horror, that happens. Yeah.
Yeah, but you talked about Jason moving. I don't think I've ever noticed it. I mean, people have talked about it like, oh, he's still alive. You see him move. This, that, and the other. It's like, I think it was so subtle that I never see it.
I think it was, but I maybe I'm, maybe I'm fooling myself into thinking that I see some movement.
Yeah, if you stare at something for long enough, it's gonna move. Yeah, maybe that's it. I don't know.
Maybe that is it. But to me, it always did appear that there was the slightest bit of movement there.
Yeah,
but. I'm gonna fucking watch it tonight anyway. My wife's never seen it, so
sweet.
Yes, and I was shocked. Yeah, so I said, you know what? Well, next time we watch a movie, this is the one. So you don't have to give me a reason to watch this movie. That's it. You know. So I'll be looking at there with fucking bated breath. Is there movement?
Yeah, exactly. Slow mo. I'm gonna see. I think he's getting a boner under that sheet. He's listening to that workout video. He's getting a hard
Oh boy, the fucking 20-minute workout. You remember that show? Oh my gosh.
No, is that what he's watching?
My fucking yes. When I was a kid, my mother and my aunts and her friends and that's what they used to watch this shit. The 20-minute workout. Yep, that's what it was.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Now. Okay, so this guy gets the fucking bone saw to the throat, right? And
welcome back, Tom Savini.
Yeah, exactly. The kills in this are just are great, and the effects are wonderful, and I love this. I love this scene particularly, and I've talked about this before. It's something so stupid, but for some reason, it just makes Jason seem so creepy. And that is his fingernails are so fucking dirty and just like it seems like he's been digging holes with his hands or something.
Yeah, it's for the remake. He's digging those tunnels.
See? It's all connected.
Yes, it can be done. He did it with his bare hands.
Yeah, exactly. But I always loved that little added bonus to his look, So
I agree, and it's true to life. If anything, that of course the fucking guy's not showering. He's fucking he's gonna be dirty as fuck.
Yeah.
Right. He's gonna be dirty as fuck. He's gonna be fucking, it's gonna smell like shit probably. He's gonna fucking be dirty. He's gonna come on, man.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's fucking dirty and grimy and is fucking disgusting as you can make a human being. And you know what? Good. A killer should fucking look that way and whatever.
Right. Exactly.
The fuck? What is this? Fucking American Psycho walking around and fucking. As much as I love that movie, you're not gonna have fucking guys dressed up in fucking suit and tie whacking people.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Shit.
So yeah, and this movie does something that I know you dislike, but it does it in a way that the last movie failed upon, whereas it puts somebody in the movie that is supposed to be our point of view. Because I think by this time they make this movie, they realize who their audience is, and that's young kids. You know what I mean? It's like, sure, it's older people too, but the kind of people that really gravitate towards this are going to be, mostly the younger crowd. And then they introduce Tommy Jarvis, and he's a kid who can. I mean, I wanted to be Tommy Jarvis. Are you kidding me? One, he's got a smoking hot sister.
Yeah.
He's got a fucking not too bad looking of a mother. And and he can make these fucking crazy masks. Like, I don't know about you. I tried to do shit like this when I was younger, making masks out of paper mache and just whatever I could do. Never in my life would I ever be able to do this kind of stuff. And he's doing it at fucking, what is he, 12 years old? Crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, we all know it was really Tom Savini, but,
Right. And this is the tribute to him. That's why they named him Tommy. He was supposed to be modeled after Tom Savini.
Oh, really? I never made that connection. Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, it wasn't. I either saw that in the documentary that his name is Jason, or I read it in the Crystal Lake Memories. But he was modeled to be, a young Tom Savini. It was like tributing him.
That's cool.
So,
I just always thought it was like supposed to be us. It's like, yeah, he's a young boy. He's into horror and all this cool stuff, and so yeah. That's what I always took it as. But now you said before that you do not like kids in horror movies, yet it seems like you like this movie. Now, what's your take on Corey Feldman being in this flick as the young Tommy Jarvis?
Well, this is the one that started that whole trend with having a kid in the movie, and they did it for fucking 3 straight movies. Now, Tommy Jarvis, I like him. I like Feldman's portrayal in the role in that situation, but I just think that it takes away, even though ultimately it leads to his demise, which is cool, and I understand, it makes the chase scene a little less scary to me because it's 2 people again. It's a child, it's Trish and Tommy, and that to me, it would be a lot scarier if it was just Trish on her own. That's what I'm saying. That was the problem with Corey Feldman was, integral to the plot all the way through. Tommy Jarvis, I mean, So I understand that. It was just one kid, and it was kind of cool because you're seeing things through his eyes and how excited he gets when he sees the girl in the next room. Because that totally reminds me of it. Probably not just me, all of us.
Absolutely.
Fucking raging hormones, and you would act that way. You'd be that excited to see that. You're like, oh my god, this is too good to be true. And he's jumping up and down in the bed with fucking joy.
Yeah.
He's at that age, and it's great. And then when he goes to the thing and he sees the people skinny dipping and how happy he is, we can relate to that. And he's not an annoying kid. He's not like fucking, the kids in 6, the one in particular, and, Reggie the Reckless, who was just kind of thrown in. He's integral to the plot. So I like him being in the movie, but I think it takes away in the end with the scare factor. I think it would have been scarier with Trish on her own. So
I agree, because by identifying with Tommy so much, and she's there at the end, but I kind of don't even focus on her. I'm more drawn into what Tommy's doing, and if he wasn't there, it would be much more engaging, I think, because that they're not going to kill a kid. I mean, nowadays they might do that. They do a lot of different things these days, but back then, I mean, they just didn't kill kids in movies, so you never felt fear or feel fearful for them that something was going to happen.
Yeah, exactly. That's just it. Yeah. I'll tell you what. The first time I saw this movie is special to me because this was the first one I saw in the theater on opening night, and I was psyched because, as I told you at the beginning of part 3, the story of me getting into the series and in horror. Part 3, I see it on fucking HBO. I go out, I rent part 1 and 2, and I'm watching 1, 2, and 3 religiously. Very shortly after that, because it had already come to HBO, so that it was it had been released a year before. So very shortly after that, it's announced that the final chapter's coming out. Holy fuck, that's probably all I talked about for fucking months. Friday the 13th of I can't wait. And fucking I went, and it was the first one I saw in the theater, and what an experience, because everything since then, I didn't have nearly as much fun. When you're watching this movie, opening night, back then, and every time somebody dies, the crowd's applauding, and when Jason makes his return, the crowd's applauding. Everybody, you're so wrapped up into it, it's fucking... It's nostalgia, and it's just, now it's nostalgia. But at the time, it's you feel like you're part of something bigger, And, of course, I was still younger, and those other older kids, and they're running the show. And, of course, you're a young, impressionable 14, 15-year-old, and you see, 19, 20-year-olds are the cool kids, and they're all into it the same way as you are. And, everyone cheering every time someone's getting whacked. And then the ending, when he gets the TV smashed on his head, and when finally he gets killed, and everybody's cheering for that too. It was just, I could probably say it's the best fun I've ever had in a movie to this day. So
wow,
yeah,
oh,
it was tremendous. They don't act that way at the movies anymore. It's not even close.
If you ever go to like early screenings of films, those styles of viewings can be kind of fun like that, because that's really the fan. It's going to be the fan of that movie. It's like they might not have seen it before. It's an early screening, but they know what they're getting into, and so those kind of movies, or screenings rather, always kind of come with a crowd that is more interactive and is cheering and stuff like that, and really engaged in the movie. So if you ever get a chance to go any stuff like that, I recommend it.
Believe me, I will. Absolutely.
Yeah.
If I do. There's no question.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But it isn't like it used to be.
Sure.
Going to see movies now, I had fun with the remake, and a little fun with Freddy vs. Jason when they came out. But it was fun. But, in the back of my head, I'm thinking, man, it isn't like it used to be. The 80s, and everyone it was just a different atmosphere, just with everything in general, life, period, And then going to this at that age, and in the midst of its popularity, knowing it's the final chapter, and it's just, it's the best time I've had in a movie. And so, granted, the movie's great anyway, but it's always special to me for that,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good, man. I wish I could have had that experience as well, but I didn't. I mean, I wasn't able to go see this kind of stuff in theaters for a long time, unfortunately.
Well, yeah, understood, right.
Yeah. I mean, but you're an old man, so...
I know, so that's the trade-off. There you go. I got fucking years on you, see? So, you experiencing great things, but now, now look at me. I'm all old and broken down, living on the fucking... clutching the memories of the past.
One thing that this movie did differently, and was introduce some characters who were actually kind of... I mean, the last movie, I guess they were fun to watch, and stuff like that. But this movie with the dueling cabins, you got the family in one cabin, and then you got the party house in the other cabin, and that's truly what those kids are there to do. And with that, you get a bunch of funny characters, if nothing else. I mean, fucking George McFly, that dude, when they introduce him and the other dude in the back of the car.
Ted and fucking Jimmy. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Ted. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Ted and Jimmy. Oh, man, their whole back and forth is just, I love it. It's some great shit.
It is great. You feel like you're there with them. You really relate to these characters.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's the atmosphere of this movie. That's the best part of this movie, I think. Really is the interaction with these characters. It's the best crop. There's part 2 and there's this, and I like part 2 a lot. But this is for whatever reason, it just seems like they're having more fun in this movie, and just the banter between them and everything else. It's just it's so much fun. It's just fun to watch it for that reason.
Yeah.
It's one of the great things about this movie.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And the fact that what's his name? What's George McFly's name?
Oh, Jimmy.
Jimmy, when he's willing to take it's not really sloppy seconds, but he's clear. The gal was clearly moving down the list of, well, he doesn't want to fuck me. he doesn't want to fuck me. I guess I'll fuck this guy over here. And he's like, yeah, all right.
Yeah, but she was hot.
I would have done the same thing. You know, like, when you're at that age, it's like, who gives a fuck, man?
Right.
You know, you're not looking for anything, and a score is a score. You know, it's not like she just went and banged a couple guys, so she doesn't like you as much. You're still gonna stick it in, you know? Like, who cares?
Yeah,
exactly.
And he's trying to get over his situation with the ex, and now his buddy's fucking busting his balls. So
yeah.
You know, how happy he is after with the underwear. And come on, that's fucking great. You know?
Oh my god.
And she is hot.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's to me. That's
Tina, right?
I don't remember.
I think it's Tina. Camilla Moore is the one that plays him. I remember her, and she's the fucking banana. That's the one I'm gonna peel.
Oh yeah, me too. Definitely, yeah. I'm peeling that banana. Absolutely. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
You know, I might take what's her name, Trish, as seconds. You know, definitely she's second. But yeah, that girl. Yeah, I'm taking her.
Even though she's a twin, we have her fucking twin lower than fucking another girl. Isn't that weird? Who would think that? She got a hot girl. Oh, she has a twin sister, but you're going to take another girl over her.
Hey, they might not.
I agree.
Be totally identical. You know what I mean? So.
Right. Yeah. I mean, there is a slight difference. Obviously, that's why we chose. Right. That's why we made the list the way we did. But it's just it's just funny that we would list them that way. But
yeah.
We do.
Exactly. So. Yeah, there's man, what else to talk about? I mean, you got the obligatory dance scene that kind of fucking, it seems to be wildly out of nowhere, but it's just one of those things that you can't help but fucking laugh at, you know? That dude is so awkward, and it just works so well. It's just so fucking goofy.
It's great. You know that it was fucking, it was all impromptu by him, right?
Yeah. Which I totally believe, because that guy is an eccentric kind. Crispin Glover, he's an eccentric kind of actor and all that shit. And so it seems to really make sense. So
yeah, it's great. And they're just having a great time at that party. Yeah. And it's just you just you look at, it's familiar territory. You just my vocabulary's off right now because I don't know, but I can't think of the word I want to use. But you identify with these characters so well, because you feel like you're there. It takes you back to your teen. Like nowadays, when I was a kid, I was like, yeah, these guys are having a great time. I wish I was a little older and they're trying to bang chicks and whatever. But now you look back on it and you can completely get what they're doing, and it's like you're right there with them. You're a teen, you're trying to get laid, you're having fun talking to your buddy. Those two more than anybody.
Yeah. Now, when they're riding in the back of the car, did you think there was a computer there?
I was confused about it for a long time.
That always threw me off. I'm like, is this a joke? Is there a computer there? Wait, how can there be a computer there?
Yeah, I thought he was bullshitting, but at the same time, I thought that he just had a keyboard.
That's what I thought, because you heard clacking, right?
Yes, it sounded perfectly. It did sound like a keyboard.
Yeah, you heard the clacking, so it's like, well, there must be a computer there. How can there be a computer there? Computers can't go in cars, what the
Yeah, that was funny. Yeah. I did think that for a little while. Now I just think, whatever, it just sounds perfect. You know? I don't know what he's using.
Who knows? Whatever it is, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it is awesome.
And I'm glad they did it like that. I mean, he's probably just fucking with him. He's touching, who knows. Clearly he's fucking with him. He's not on a computer in a car in 1984, but...
Right. But they play it like it is, because he gets so offended by it.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm a dead fuck. Like it's real.
And he's like looking over there. He's like looking at it. It's like, what are you looking at?
And it depresses him. It's like he really did go see a doctor, and he fucking puts his head down. He face palms. He's like, so I'm a dead fuck. Like everything this fucking kid's saying is gospel.
Right.
Says you're a dead fuck. Oh, well, I'm just going to have to accept it. Okay. The computer's right. Hey, bud, the computer don't lie.
Yeah, you see, back then in the 80s, computers were still home computers were still brand new. And so fucking computers could do anything. You know what I mean? It helped Richard Pryor take over the world in fucking Superman 3, you know?
This is true. Yeah, they did lots of shit. Yeah?
Just
How about
crazy
fucking
shit.
Yeah, the other guy was fucking, what do you call it? War Games. Look what he did with a computer.
Yeah, exactly.
Started fucking World War III, you know?
Yeah, no
Kids
shit.
he was changing his grades in fucking high school, you know, hacking everything. Oh, that's great. But yeah, I hear you. It is like that. That's representative of the times and the regard that fucking the possibilities of computers were endless. You know?
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Now another element that is, it's a quick moment in the movie, but it's one that always like threw me off, and that's the dog jumping through the window.
Aha.
What the fuck? Because it's like something that just seems to happen, right? And it's clearly the dog is jumping through the window.
Yes.
But it's like, are they trying to imply that Jason is throwing the dog? I never understood that. Never, ever.
I resigned to the fact that the dog got scared and jumped out. It sounds cooler.
Mm-hmm.
Right off the bat, I think that's what I thought. That, granted, I questioned it, but I mean, I still thought it. I was like, well, if somebody was to ask me, yeah, that dog saw Jason, knew that he was fucking evil or whatever. He was there because, you know, dogs can sense that shit.
Yeah,
Jumped out the window, scared shitless. That's actually kind of cool. Jason throwing the dog out the window, it's not so exciting.
Yeah.
No.
I had no idea that you could train a dog to do something like that either. That I don't know how the fuck they did that. Who knows? I don't know.
I hear you, but I thought that he jumped out with fear.
Yeah.
Which I think is cool. It's a selling point for the Jason Voorhees character and fucking, you know, what he represents. You know, this dog wants no part of it. Ooh, fucking jumps out. You know?
Ruh-roh.
Exactly, right.
He's fucking out of there.
Right. How about when Michael Myers kills the fucking dog in part 1?
Oh yeah. I never really liked that because, I mean, I maybe
well,
you're like
eating
me,
it.
But yeah, what?
He did it for food.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
It kind of makes sense, but it's like, oh, it's that dog. Oh,
that's
okay,
right.
Well, the dog shut up now, and then there he is, fucking killing it slowly.
Hey, you know,
I kind of like that. A lot of people don't like it.
Yeah, no, that's definitely definitely a moment.
It's funny. I think when kids or dogs are killed in horror movies, it's funny because it's something you don't see. That's why I like seeing it.
You sick
There's nothing
bastard.
wrong with me. No, see, that's what I'm saying. You think it's sick.
I really don't. I really don't. Yeah.
Yeah, but some people do. They're like, oh, I hate it when fucking that happens. Me, I love it. I loved in fucking Hostel 2 when that fucking guy shot that kid.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you don't see it.
Yeah.
I like seeing anything in a movie that you don't expect to. Anytime I'm taken by surprise, I'm happy.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it is something as vicious as fucking killing a kid or a dog.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because you don't see it. It's almost like taboo. But when you do, you're like, wow, holy fuck, didn't see that coming. How do you not like that?
Or like when you're watching a porno and the guy doesn't pull out, you're like, whoa, that's fucking surprising. The hell?
Oh, don't get me started.
yeah, we're not doing that. Yeah, no shit.
Yes. But how about the kills in this movie? They were very good. Of course, it's Tom Savini.
Yeah,
So
Tom
what do you
Savini's
expect?
back. Yeah, at the top of his game, and he was ready to. I mean, like you said, you know, they truly think this is the end, and so they fucking step it up for this. And bringing him back on was the right move because
Yeah, he created it. He killed it.
Yeah, exactly. My my banana split though is definitely the corkscrew. I mean, that to me is like, when that happens, that's like a fist in the air kind of moment. I just fucking love that. He fucking slams his fucking hand and then boom, right to the fucking face.
Yeah, fucking cleaver or whatever.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
Yeah, cleaver to the face after. Yeah, you want the corkscrew? Bam, right there. I mean, is that how Jason makes a joke? You know, it's like, he's talking about wine or whatever, and Jason hears him, so he's like, oh, I'm going to grab this fucking corkscrew and fucking tease this motherfucker a little bit. And little does he know, he starts yelling at Ted, where's the corkscrew? You know, and fucking bam, haha, motherfucker, there's the corkscrew.
It's great. And fucking when I saw it at the movie, at the theater, that was just great because everybody fucking loved that. I mean, that's funny, and at the same time, it's a great payoff.
Yeah,
and it's a 2-time. Where the hell's the corkscrew? And then fucking boom, there it is, motherfucker, and everyone's like, yay! And then fucking,
and then bam,
boom,
right to the face. Yeah, it's
and you hear the
super
blood
quick.
flow.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Which is fake, but you don't really hear blood flow, but it makes sense in these movies, and it's like the noise of. You know, like we spoke about before with the back breaking, that situation.
Yeah, snapping carrots and shit like that.
Yeah, that's good shit. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, oh yeah, I love that shit.
Yeah, so it fits along with it, and or the neck snap. That's what it was, not a back breaking.
Yeah,
a neck snapping. That noise doesn't really happen in real life, but you love when you see it in a movie like this.
Oh yeah, I mean, you know, really. Lots of movies and what you get out of movies, there's so much of it that's done in post with sound effects that you don't even realize that is added in. I mean, so much. Doorways, footsteps, picking up something, putting down something. None of that is really picked up that much when they're concentrating on dialogue, and everything else is put in afterwards. And so, yeah, it's just all that shit's really good.
And that's a lot of work, you know?
Oh, yeah.
It's a lot of work to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And hey, newsflash, I am in agreement. That is the fucking banana split. Big surprise, right?
Yeah, we're really arguing on these 4 movies here.
Right? Holy fuck. Yep. But it's great, man. It's a 2-time situation. There's a little element of a little comedy, but done just right, and boom, bam, it's fucking great, you know?
Oh, yeah, it's great, and yeah, I love it. It's definitely the best one of this movie.
Yep, and there's good kills. I mean, it was a little bit censored, but there were still some really good things, too. Mm-hmm. Actually, I don't even want to say it was censored. There was just a couple off-screen kills that we don't know why they did it. Mm-hmm. You know, with the girl in the pitchfork, the other twin that goes outside, why they did it that way.
Yeah,
and
the mother, you don't even really see anything. You just see a flash of light and her reaction. Yeah, you don't.
I don't know why.
Yeah,
maybe because so much of the Savini was working so much on the final scene.
Yeah, that's what I assume. Of his time,
yeah. Mm-hmm. You know, but once again, Savini, the fucking maestro, avoids censors.
Yeah.
Part 1 is fucking great gore. Part 4 is great gore. 2 and 3, okay, but not like 1 and 4. And it's not just, but they were cut. There was a couple scenes in 2 and 3 that if they weren't cut, would have worked out better. Somehow, Tom Savini avoids fucking censors. It's part of his fucking mystique, I guess. I don't know. Tom Savini, oh okay. Yeah, free for all.
No problem. Yeah, right this way, sir.
Yeah. All right. Maybe he's fucking got the censors paid off or something. I don't know. Because think about it. All his movies that he's known for are gory as fuck. There's never censored. The Prowler, the fucking Burning, everything he did.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's shown in full blood and full gore.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it's strange, but hey, I'm not complaining. It's great.
No. And speaking of gore, how about the end when Jason's head is sliding down the fucking machete? I mean, yeah, you know, if you look really close at it, it's kind of fake, but that's something that's really never been done in a movie before. I mean, they hit him in the head, he falls down on it. You never see somebody fall down on the weapon that's impaled in their body, and then he slowly slides down it. That is fucking cringeworthy right there. It looked great. I thought it looked awesome.
Oh my God.
Loved it.
Oof. Yeah, when he's sliding down that fucking thing, we hadn't seen something like that before.
No, never.
It was great. Yeah. It was great. And you could see a little bit of a mechanical thing on the eyebrow. Who gives a fuck? The man did it all with his bare hands.
Yeah,
put it all,
great.
Constructed this thing, put it together.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it does look great. It's fucking, I mean, that's gore. His fucking head sliding down a fucking machete that's in his face.
Mm-hmm.
Holy, I mean, that really is the fucking banana split, if you want to get technical. It's Jason's death. You're not gonna beat fucking that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, holy fuck! It's bloody. It's gore. It's, you know. And then at the end with Tommy going apeshit on him. I mean, you don't see it, but it's fucking sweet.
Yeah, I always loved that growing up. You know, it's like okay, he's definitely killing him. You know, he's hacking him to bits and stuff like that. It was really satisfying. Him yelling "die" and "die" and "die." You know, it's super satisfying. I don't know if I would have liked it more if they would have had more cuts of maybe, you know, the penetration, like you say, of the knife or the machete or anything like that. You know, they literally show nothing. You know, they put all their fucking gusto into the thing to the head.
Yeah.
You know, but at the same time, I don't know if I would have liked it more if it showed something. I think I like it just as it is, without them really showing anything. You see his sister's reaction. You got Tommy yelling, swinging that hat, you know, the machete. That's really all you need, I think.
Oh, yeah, that worked just the way it was.
Yeah.
Honestly, I wouldn't want it any other way. What are you going to do? Show him going up yelling "die" and then fucking look at the bottom and then see a knife penetrating a pillow with fucking clothes on it or something? I don't know. It's just... it's better the way it is. It's more dramatic. It's slow motion. It's fucking, and the way they put the sound in, you know, towards the end when it's fading out, and he's still yelling "die" and she's going "Tommy" and the whole fucking thing, and the way they put the sound in there, it was great. And you talk about great, the whole last 20 minutes of this fucking thing, the chase scene and Jason's anger and fucking just everything. When she puts the fucking, she turns the knife around the hammer when she's hammering him in the head, and she turns it around and fucking puts it in the back of his neck, and he gets pissed.
Yeah.
Oh, owie is right. Holy fuck. And he's so mad, and he fucking throws it, and it lands in the wall, and it gets stuck. And how about when he nails the fucking bodies, you know, to the entrance of the house, and then he's so pissed off at the end, he fucking grabs the fucking dead body by the shoulder and slides it down the fucking nails and onto the ground. It's great. And he kicks in the fucking door. He's so aggressive. He shows emotion for the first time of anger, you know, because this girl and this kid are getting the best of him in a couple situations.
Yeah, as much as I liked whoever played him in part 3, this guy, it was a Ted White in 4.
Ted White in 3. This is Richard Brooker.
Okay.
Oh no.
The other way around, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Other way around.
Yeah. Ted White he kills it here in 4. It's definitely better than Richard in 3. Even though I liked that Jason, this one is just it's clearly elevated because it's all about body language. And you're right, he conveys emotion, you know, because he's not talking, you know, he's fucking got to show emotion through his body language, you know. So, yeah, he definitely knocks it out of the park here.
Oh, he's the best one. I think he's the best Jason, period. Do you disagree? Or you think Hodder did it better or something?
The best one? Man. Yeah, I'd probably say Kane Hodder, just because I think he is really good at doing the movements, you know, with all the makeup and stuff. He is really good. Now, he's in a lot of shitty movies.
Well, yeah, of course.
But, yeah, the way he moves as Jason, I think is definitely the best, yeah.
I can understand that, but to me, this is the quintessential Jason Voorhees. When someone says Jason Voorhees to me, I think about part 4, and I think of Ted White.
You see, it's tough because it's not just the actor, you know, so you can't just go with that. I mean, it's also the setting he's in, the story he's given, the special effects up on his look, you know, that all goes into it. And so it's really kind of hard just to pick one guy. But there's definitely guys that shine more than others, and Ted White is clearly one of them. Yeah.
Yeah, he's great. I love his performance. I love everything he does, and the way his body language, the way he's built is perfect. I don't know if Kane Hodder, if he was in this movie with his build, if it wouldn't have been as good a performance. Honestly, I just can't see Kane Hodder acting the way that Ted White did.
No, you're right, because
the aggression and just
right. Kane Hodder is perfect for the resurrected Jason, you know, after 6. He is perfect for that style of Jason and the clearly decayed body now. You know, he might be a resurrected zombie guy in part 4, but it's clearly like a decayed figure and stuff. And I think he's perfect for that era of Jason.
Yeah, I'll give you that. Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. But, fuck. How about fucking... what do you think about Rob Dyer?
That is... I don't remember names.
Oh, fucking the guy that's chasing his fucking sister.
Oh,
the guy
yeah. That's right. Okay, now this guy, I love this element in this movie because it needed something different, and this definitely is that. And it's the hunter, hunting the hunter essentially, or something like that, and they definitely needed an element like this, but his sister was gone missing for 2 days now. 2 days. It's been I know it's been 2 years since that movie or whatever, but in the movie world it's been 2 days, so I'm kind of like that's kind of an eye roll thing. And his death, yeah, exactly, dude, because he's got like newspaper clippings, and that leads into big time at the end with Tommy. If Tommy didn't see the newspaper clippings, he wouldn't have done what he did.
Of course, right.
But it's like
it's specifically done for that. Right.
It's been 2 days.
Wow, yeah. You know how long it would take to compile that shit, especially back then?
Exactly.
To find newspaper clippings, you got to go to the library and fucking do the microfiche thing and everything up and then fucking print it or whatever. Because why would he be saving newspaper clippings? You know what I mean?
Exactly. It didn't really make sense. I mean,
wow, I never thought of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I hate to maybe ruin any kind of plot point for you, but yeah, that really didn't gel with me.
Wow, very good. That never fucking hit home with me. That it was just 2 days, and how is that possible? Mm-hmm. Because you're thinking of time that movie to movie, that it's been some time, but it's supposed to be day to day to day, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. And for that matter, you could say, how come Jason never fucked with the Jarvises to begin with, if they're right there?
Yeah,
they're just woods. It's still Crystal Lake. There's a couple things you could say if you wanted to pick it apart.
Yeah, the way I get around that is that he's kind of been on the run since 2, and so.
Well, yeah, that's true.
He since the end of 2, he's been like just like run. He's on the run essentially. He's scared or whatever, and so then he went to the Higgins Haven or whatever it is in part 3. He's never been there before, and then that all happened, and then he went to the morgue, and now he's just trying to get back home, and he just happens to run he's never been there before. So the way I look at it is Crystal Lake is a fucking huge lake, kind of thing, with a bunch of different properties and maybe even small communities, based around it. So who knows? I don't know.
No, I hear you. I guess it's the way that I was theorizing the Jason character. Not so much day to day, 2, 3, and 4, but the stuff that everyone has a different theory about between 1 and 2. Like, Jason's been in these woods for years. Why hasn't he come across them prior? Yeah. So I was thinking from that mentality.
Oh, I got you. Yeah.
But I hear you actually said it straight with me. Because if it is just those 3 days, then, you got to take the movies for what they are. And, yeah, I could see that. Because maybe he hasn't been on the run for fucking 15 years on his own. It's just how you going to make sense of what we discussed earlier between 1 and 2 but that whole thing. I was thinking from that perspective.
It's so funny because... we're willing to forgive things, and then we're also sitting here trying to explain things. It's like, if we didn't love these fucking movies, we wouldn't give 2 shits either way. You know what I mean? True. But we love this shit, so it's so much fun to like sit here and dissect it, and then try to piece it back together when it clearly was done by so many people. Different people years apart. And there's pieces that aren't going to fit together and stuff like that, but. We want it all to fit in our minds, so we try to fucking make it all work. It's
right.
Fun. It's fun shit.
It is. It's the fun. It's the magic of these movies.
Yeah.
It's something that no other series, that I feel this way about. That we can sit here and do this with it.
Yeah. No, absolutely not. No. I mean, there's other fun series. Don't get me wrong, but this one, I mean, just takes the cake.
Oh, there's no question about it. Yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But. I know what you were gonna get to with fucking Rob in his death.
Oh my god, dude! Like,
it's ridiculous.
Oh, laughable, man! That shit. I don't know what they were going for.
I don't know.
It just.
They were going for drama. I think.
I don't know, man.
You think they were trying to make us laugh at it?
No,
I
don't. I really don't think that.
Yeah.
It just didn't. It clearly wasn't dramatic. So I don't know. It's
leading up to it was cool though. When his hand comes through the fucking when the staircase and that whole thing.
When he pulls him down, that's great. Mm-hmm.
Right, that's all good. But then
it's like, just shut up and die. Quit commentating. Quit giving commentary on how you're getting killed.
A running commentary on his own. Yeah.
Oh my God, he stabbed me again and again. He is killing me.
Oh, the skin is piercing. Oh, body blow. Left hook. Fuck, what the fuck? I think he was saying that because he wanted to really say, get the fuck out.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
All his attention's on me, so I'm letting you know he's killing me. So
don't try and save me. Get the fuck away from here.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Get the fuck out. Right. And of course her dumbass is fucking sitting there fucking the moonwalk and covering up her fucking mouth, backing up at the top of the stairs watching it and, bugging the fuck out. Just run, bitch, run.
Run, bitch, run. That's right.
What the fuck?
What do you think about, though, I mean, I talked about earlier, what Tommy does after that is when his sister's being chased around the house and he comes up with this master plan to distract Jason and does what he does. Now, to me, as a kid, I thought this was incredibly badass. And
yeah, agreed.
And I really loved it. I thought it was so cool. This kid is like, he's stepping up, he's being the hero. But watching this as an adult is like, this makes no fucking sense. It would take him a long time to fucking cut his hair off. I'm talking like probably 20 to 30 minutes or something to get all that done that he does. And meanwhile, his sister's being killed downstairs. It's like, and I get it, man. I get what they're trying to go for. They're trying to go for a copycat style of part 2. Right. And why wouldn't you? Because that fucking shit worked,
Right.
But it's just a little far-fetched.
A little far-fetched.
At the end of the movie, yeah.
I agree, yeah.
But
it is what it is, and it's still cool. It's still it still is, I consider, a classic scene in horror movies.
Yeah, it definitely is classic, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, especially with the end result being, the demise of Jason Voorhees.
Yeah.
Well, unofficially, but you know what I mean. This time they really took it to him, and that was the plan to kill him off, and it fit in with the movie.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just kind of, logistically it's kind of ridiculous, but it's all good. It works. It's very iconic. It was right for the character to do, I think, because really, this kid needed some shit to do. You know what I mean? He needed to do something, and so I think it was the right play.
Yeah, I got to tell you something about this. When I was at the theater,
you shaved your head? Oh, brother!
Imagine, I didn't do that. No. Yeah, right during that scene I did. I went to the bathroom.
Yeah,
I'm going to do it right with him.
You came back 30 seconds later.
Yeah,
you had it all cut perfectly and shit. Oh, well, Jesus.
When I'm watching this movie and the final chase scene's going on, when it's just Trish and Tommy, and Jason runs up the stairs. Now, do you know that part? When they're in the bedroom and they run in the bedroom, and it's right before he comes in there and they put the TV over his head, which is fucking sweet.
Yeah, I do like that. Mm-hmm.
Right? Well, I thought as I'm watching the movie, this was what my young mind was perceiving, thinking about Jason being, not the fucking sharpest tool in the shed. This is what I was thinking, that when he poked his head into the fucking bedroom, in Tommy's bedroom, all those masks being there, I thought that was going to factor into Jason getting scared of the masks.
Huh. Well,
I don't know why.
I can see that. No, I mean, he's got the mentality of a child in a lot of ways, and so I can see that happening.
I don't know if anyone else ever thought that.
I never thought that. That's a good. They could have used something like that, because really those masks never come into play other than showing Tommy's character and what he's like and stuff like that. So
Yeah, because they don't really do much with it. I mean, it's
No.
cool when he does things in the beginning. He meets Rob and he shows him that trick, and these are the masks I make. And, when we find out later it's a tribute to Tom Savini and everything. But I thought it would come into play more. Honestly, why didn't he just go upstairs and put a fucking bald skin mask on? If he's into all this.
You know what? This is what they fucking should have done.
Yeah.
He should have been a kid who, well, that, again, with the timeline doesn't really make sense. But let's just say he's a kid who knows who Jason is and is somehow into Jason,
Yes,
he
he's
likes
into serial killers. And
exactly. And he makes a mask of Jason and then puts that on or something like that. That would have been cool, I think. That could have worked. Huh.
You're right.
I don't know.
Because doesn't he use some makeup anyway because of the stuff he puts under his eyes?
Yeah, he puts some shit. Yep. Yeah.
So there you go. That's why they did that, to show that he's into that shit. But why not, instead of having him shave his head, you could buy a fucking bald skin mask in Halloween time at fucking CVS for $1.50. That's not going to be the best thing in the world, but you're going to appear to be, and it's only Jason. Again, how hard is it going to be to trick him? He's already fallen for all these other fucking tricks. Right?
It's only Jason.
Right. I mean, well,
to look perfect. No, you're right.
It'll fool him. Put a fucking bald skin mask on. You could have put a fucking a swim cap on maybe and pulled it off.
Yeah.
No,
a shower cap.
Yeah, a clear shower cap. Yeah, fucking a flesh-colored shower cap. Yes.
Oh, brother.
But I mean, they could have just done that. It would have been more believable that he had a bald skin mask up there since he makes masks. So, son of a bitch, that would have been better, I think.
Yeah, they should have put that
Yeah,
more
why not?
into the plot. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's the classic thing of movies. If you show something in the first act, you gotta fucking use it in the third act, kind of thing. And yeah, they didn't do that. That's just, I guess, the writing, or whatever. But I mean, it's all good. It's still effective the way it is.
Oh yeah, it is. I know. Mm-hmm. We're nitpicking a little bit.
Yeah.
It was just an alternative that occurred to me when I started talking about his mask. I'm like, damn it, why not? But I guess that did factor in just because of the little bit of makeup that he put on his face. That that he was privy to fucking what to do with things like that.
Right. Yeah.
Appearance because he has those abilities.
Now, what do you think about the actual ending? Like the last few seconds where he embraces his sister and then gives a very very sinister sort of look straight into the camera. I don't know. I mean, I really like that, but at the same time, it leads you down one direction. I mean, you could take it two ways. You could take it as I'm picking up I've killed this guy, now I'm going to take over for him.
Right. That's what I thought.
Or yeah, I think that's what we all thought. Yeah. Or I killed this guy, and now I'm insane in some kind of fashion. Doesn't necessarily mean I'm a killer. Right. Doesn't necessarily mean I'm the next Jason or anything like that. But clearly something fucking flipped. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It's the same thing with Halloween 4. The exact same thing. I mean, shit. Fuck.
Oh boy, that fucking ending. No. It's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, and then for them just to ignore. Oh man, that part 5 pisses me off so bad. But anyways, we're not talking about that. So yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it because you needed something at the end. If they just ended on kind of like the note of him being killed and then they got away, then it just wouldn't have been as effective because
could they wrap it up?
Well, they were also trying to write them. I mean, granted, they said this was the final chapter. They planned on making it killing of Jason, and they did, but they were also like, hey, this is a cash cow. Let's open this window just a little bit so we can maybe do something in the future, so that's all I took that as.
Just in case.
Yeah, exactly.
Or maybe not. I mean, because honestly, I've watched the commentary, I've seen the interviews with Joe Zito, or whatever the fuck his name is, Frank Zito, whatever it is, the director.
That's Joe, I think. Yeah.
Is Joe, okay.
Yeah.
Well, they told him, this is it. We're killing Jason off. This is the end. There are no plans for a sequel. So you would think he was the one that put that in there, and I just think he just did it just to be coy, just to have a little fun, just to put something in there. Because how else could you end the movie? I mean,
there's no way to really do it. Yeah.
Yeah, him chopping Jason, and they always have that little thing at the end, and once again, it's formulaic. Why can't I say that? Whatever. It's the formula. That's just what they did, and
you know what I would have liked better is that if they did almost exactly what they did in 1, 2, and 3, is that they had a dream sequence with Tommy Jarvis. And he just had one of those jump scare dreams, and then he wakes up, and because he would truly be haunted by this guy.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, he's that young. He murdered him, essentially, and so him more so than anybody else would truly be haunted by him. And so I'm surprised they didn't do that,
You're right. And guess what? Did you know there was a dream sequence filmed and scrapped?
Oh, yeah.
It was Trisha's dream, and she saw her dead mother.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Mm-hmm.
They were going to do that. I guess they decided it just didn't work right, so...
Well, because they went with the wrong character. It should have been Tommy's dream, don't you think? It should have been him, not Trish.
You're right.
Huh.
Yeah, you're right. They should have done a dream sequence. But not that I'm criticizing this ending, because it was okay, and it was, it is what it is. It's a decent ending. Mm-hmm. That they did that, and it's a little mysterious, and doom, 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 and you fuck it over with his eyes, and then the music comes in, like, well, that's the end of that.
It makes more sense than the ending of Part 5. We didn't really talk about that, but at the end of 5 even, they're like, okay, Tommy is the new killer, it's like...
Oh, yeah.
And then they really play that up, because he has the mask, and he attacks the nurse or whatever, but that goes nowhere. They completely abandoned that. But,
right.
But whatever.
Yeah. You're right. We didn't bring that up. But
no, we didn't.
Fucked up that he had the mask in his drawer to begin with. But.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, brother.
Well, we've been through Part 5. It's been a while, and
Yeah.
Can't go fast.
Nope. But yeah. So ratings. I love this movie. I do love Part 2 better. That is my favorite Friday film. This is my second favorite. It's my favorite of the hockey mask style Jason. It's my second favorite of the franchise even. And then, so I'd give this a 5. Definitely a 5. It's probably got some of the best behind the scenes, like filmmaking, camera work, directing, of any of the sequels or even the original. So, yep, definitely a 5. I really love this movie.
I love it too, but I'm not giving it a 5.
Yeah.
I'm just knocking it down. I'm saying 4.5. I'm just knocking it down a little bit because when I talk about my favorite 5 movies, Part 1 and Part 2, I hold them both in a little higher regard. It's just a little bit different atmosphere that I prefer. What I said with Tommy and it not being quite as scary at the end, and not that I'm knocking it, and I'm not trying to nitpick it, but it's a great movie. I just have it slightly below 1 and 2, and I 4.5 is what I say.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense. Yeah, it's a great movie. It's a great way to end our unholy trinity of Friday the 13th. And man, has this been a fucking journey, a long journey.
A long journey, but a great one. And fucking, I'm almost fucking sad that it has to end.
Yeah, well, I'm sure we'll revisit it when we might do a recap show once we watch the new documentary that hopefully by the time this comes out, which is soon, will be in our hands and in our eye bulbs and in our ear bulbs and all that. So
yes, sir. Mm-hmm. Yes, yeah. But boy, this has been great. Like I said, I'm almost sad that it's come to an end. It's been fucking a great recording session. It's the best time I've had yet so far, and I anticipated it was going to be great coming in. And fucking thank you, Mr. Wazell, because it's been a blast.
Oh, it's been an absolute blast. I've had so much fun. I mean, you know, I mean, I don't know how many hours we just recorded, but we could have fucking done 2 days worth, I think. If there was no limitations on like bathroom breaks or eating or bathing or work or, you know, anything like that, we could have gone on for days. But
I agree.
But yeah, it's been a true blast. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Happy Friday the 13th to everyone out there.
I'm just going to say happy Friday the 13th.
Absolutely. So, yeah, same here. See you later, fuckers.
Later.